Now under local ownership. How long could it take before the demolition begins?
We need a lot of approvals before we can get to that point.
I've got that story coming up.
Criticism from the schools of a plan to redevelop the Millennium Hotel.
That's an entire generation that they would get away with not having to pay taxes.
I'm Michael Calhoun with the latest.
This is AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg. Mostly sunny, hot and humid today, high 92.
Coming up in sports in 15 minutes, we'll take a look at last night's Cardinals game. Did not go well for the club. They've got to turn it around, try to win a series this evening. And we'll look ahead to the final games before the All-Star break and what the standings look like in Major League Baseball. Plus, J.J. Weatherholt, wait till you see what he did in his first AAA game.
Mid-America's most trusted voice for news. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Progressive Insurance.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. A close call deep under the earth in Los Angeles.
Tonight, we were lucky.
The city's interim fire chief, Ronnie Villanueva, after 31 construction workers were stuck when an industrial tunnel partially collapsed. The crew was 6 miles from the only entrance. Some had to climb a huge mound of loose soil to reach the others. Aerial footage shows them inside a metal cage as a crane lifts them to the surface. Mayor Karen Bass.
No one injured, everyone's safe, and I am feeling very, very good that this is a great outcome in what started as a very scary evening.
The death tolls up to at least 120 in last Friday's devastating flooding in central Texas. More than 170 people are still unaccounted for. CBS's Jared Hill.
In Travis County, J.J. Jarman is still looking for his 16-year-old daughter.
I've managed the past few days since this has happened by the support of my friends.
Elsewhere, Mike Tober's mission mules carrying supplies for first responders are uniquely equipped to help navigate the terrain.
We are here from North Carolina to help them as long and as hard as we can.
Russian strikes have targeted Ukraine's capital for the second night in a row. Officials say fires broke out across the capital. 2 people were killed days after President Trump announced U.S. weapons shipments to Ukraine would resume. The BBC's Paul Adams is in Kyiv.
Men in the back of pickup trucks with machine guns to highly advanced interceptor missiles supplied by America. And the city, Ukraine, needs all of that in order to mount a comprehensive defense against this wide array of weapons that Russia is using, from the drones to the ballistic and cruise missiles.
A partial victory for an Olympic running champ from South Africa battling gender rules. CBS's Vicky Barker at the foreign desk.
The European Court of Human Rights has just ruled that Caster Semenya did not get a completely fair hearing when Switzerland's Supreme Court affirmed the World Athletics policy on athletes who, like Semenya, are classified as having differences in sexual development. So that case will be reheard, but the World Athletics ban that ended Semenya's career remains in place.
It seems loneliness affects not just your mental health, but your physical health, too. Here's CBS's Michael George.
A study by Howard University looked at data on nearly 50,000 people in the U.S. and found people who reported always feeling lonely had 5 more days of poor physical health per month than people who said they were never lonely. Lonely people also had a 40% higher rate of depression.
Dow futures are down 80, NASDAQ futures off 9. This is CBS News.
Progressive Insurance, with insurance for cars, home, boat, motorcycles, RVs, and commercial vehicles at 1-800-PROGRESSIVE and Progressive.com.
It is 6:03, and right now we've got cloudy skies, 70 degrees in downtown St. Louis. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. The news is sponsored by the St. Louis Aquarium at Union Station. The deal to sell the Millennium Hotel is complete.
The Gateway Arch Park Foundation celebrated the completion of their purchase of the long vacant building. Executive Director Ryan McClure says they are awaiting approval of their remediation plan. After that, the demolition will begin, but won't be quick.
It will take about 1.5 to 2 years just to clear the site, but we need a lot of approvals before we can get to that point.
McClure says there is a lot of mold and asbestos that needs to be safely removed. The $670 million redevelopment plan calls for turning the land into 1.6 million square feet of mixed-use space amongst multiple buildings. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
I'm Michael Calhoun with reaction from city school board members. St. Louis Public Schools stands to miss out on about $2 million in taxes a year from the completed project. Board member Ben Conover.
Now you might think, we're a $450 million budget, $2 million, what's that? This district forgoes about $38 million a year in annual tax abatement revenue. unrelated to this project.
Board President Karen Collins Adams takes issue with the developer Cordish Companies getting 90% off property taxes for 20 years.
That's an entire generation that they would get away with not having to pay taxes. 20 years is a very, very long time. At 90%, really?
The school board, which has been divided on a lot of issues recently, voted unanimously to oppose the Millennium Deal as it stands now.
An early morning blaze in South St. Louis this morning happened in a familiar location for firefighters. They recognized the vacant home on Ellenwood as the same one where they put out flames within the past year. No injuries reported. Neighbors say there may have been some homeless people living in the basement.
The funeral service for St. Louis City firefighter Lee Krause was held Wednesday morning. Krause suffered a medical emergency and passed away while on duty last week. Fire Chief Dennis Jenkerson.
I'm here today not only to mourn the passing of firefighter Lee Krause, but rather I'm asking for your prayers and thoughts to help me celebrate his life and commitment to the citizens of the city of St. Louis that he served so courageously as a firefighter.
Krause served 30 years with the department and is survived by his daughter, Cameron.
Governor Mike Kehoe has some bill signings planned in St. Louis today. One allows for a special entertainment district to be established downtown. The other modifies current state regulations on alcoholic beverages. The governor will sign that bill at Anheuser-Busch.
St. Louis City Sheriff Alfred Montgomery survived the first hearing about his removal as Judge Stephen Omer denied the Attorney General's motion to remove Montgomery from office pending adjudication. Afterwards, attorneys for Sheriff Montgomery publicly released the birth certificates of Montgomery and Malik Taylor. The deputy, Bailey, alleges is Montgomery's half-brother sharing a father, making his hiring a violation of the Missouri Constitution. However, the birth certificate is blank under Taylor's father, not vindicating the sheriff. Former Judge David Mason, an attorney for Montgomery, says this shows the Attorney General has no proof.
It proves that, in fact, there is nothing to support that claim. No evidence of nepotism. It doesn't exist.
Asked if he is confident the Attorney General has no other evidence to support his accusation, Mason was adamant he does not. A trial date has been set for June 10th.
Fewer Illinoisans may be eligible for the food assistance program SNAP under the latest domestic policy plan signed by President Trump. Capital News Illinois reports 360,000 people in Illinois could lose benefits as new work requirements for SNAP are instituted. Nearly 2 million people in Illinois receive benefits from SNAP. That legislation requires states to cover a greater portion of the benefits, along with a majority of administrative costs. Those changes could wind up forcing Illinois to spend hundreds of millions of dollars more on SNAP.
St. Louis University's Vaccine Center is looking for healthy volunteers to take part in a new study.
SLU researchers led by Dr. Sarah George will study a new vaccine for yellow fever, a potentially deadly tropical disease that is spread by mosquitoes. The current vaccine is not safe in people with egg allergies. This new vaccine is made without using eggs or animal products. SLU is enrolling up to 70 adult volunteers to study the safety of the new vaccine. Yellow fever vaccination is required for travelers and military personnel going to countries where the yellow fever virus is present, in certain African and South American countries. Fred Bottomer, KMOX News.
The Save-A-Lot in Overland is now Save-A-Lot y-Más. It's a new concept to serve a Latino customer base, offering fresh Hispanic produce, specialty meats, and culturally relevant bakery items. A grand opening carnival was held yesterday at the store on Midland Boulevard. The Save-A-Lot y-Más concept has two other locations in Colorado where Levers is based, a grocery that Save-A-Lot is teaming up with in this test and learn format. Levers COO John Kuhn says these stores will bring insights about how best to serve this growing customer base.
We'll check traffic and weather next. It's 6:08.
Is your home, business, or church looking tired, chalky, or in need of curb appeal? Go Rhino. Tired of painting year after year? Go Rhino. Our unique 3M ceramic technology is perfect for brick, stucco, aluminum, steel, color lock, masonite, and more. It's backed by our 25-year transferable warranty to not chip, crack, or peel. Great if you're staying, and even better if you're selling. Our ceramic coating allows you to maintain all of your architectural features. The decision to do vinyl will leave your home looking like a plastic moldy box. With Rhino Shield, in 15 years, your home will still have that, wow, it looks like you just got it painted. We've done large condo complexes, parking garages, pole barns, and commercial strip malls. We coat sloped and flat roofs to extend their lives too. Evaluations are free. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com. See what we did there? Genius. Tell them, ladies.
Don't pay, don't
Rhino, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
If you're still waiting for a sign, here's another one. At California Psychics, we reject 98% of the psychics who apply to work for us. So we only connect you with the best. That's how we can guarantee if your reading isn't life-changing, it's free. And right now, new customers receive 20 minutes for just $20. If that's not a sign, I don't know what is. Dramatic sound effect incoming. Experience the joy of certainty at CaliforniaPsychics.com.
Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated the best hearing aids of 2025 by Forbes Health, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices, starting at just $98 a pair.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aids.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 1 million happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts.
It's 6:10. We need to get you updated on your ride in on this Thursday morning. Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center is where we find Roger Brand.
Well, all the lanes are open now, Debbie, from that earlier car fire southbound 170 at 70. No issues, no delays running through there at this point in time. I mentioned earlier they got the road work wrapped up eastbound 70 between Wright City and Forrestal. Those delays have all thinned out also, so you look good coming through St. Charles County. If you're traveling on northbound 270, again, MoDOT's saying the right lane's still closed at 44. They closed it because of a crash yesterday afternoon that damaged the east side of that 270 overpass. Right now, even with that lane closure, traffic's still on the go, coming up from 55 on northbound 270 right now. On northbound 55 itself, that looks great down to McNutt and north of Bayless up to a River to Pear. And on the Illinois side, we have emergency repair work going on westbound 64 west of Route 4. Lane closure has not backed anything up yet, but yesterday morning and afternoon, we were seeing consistent delays during the rush hours. Next update at 6:20 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
KMOX AccuWeather, mostly sunny today, becoming hot and humid, the high 92 with AccuWeather real field temperatures in the upper 90s. Mainly clear, warm but humid tonight, the low 75. For tomorrow, sun mixing with clouds, hot and humid, an afternoon and evening thunderstorm in the area, high 95, real feels near 100. For Saturday, more clouds and sun, breezy, not as warm but still humid. Couple of heavy thunderstorms in the afternoon. They can produce downpours, hail, and damaging winds. The high Saturday, 87. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Right now, it's a cloudy sky. Clear downtown. Some clouds popping in Florissant, let's say. 71 in Florissant. Mostly sunny, 70 in St. Peter's. It looks nice down here, 70 degrees at the Arch. Weather sponsored by the International Hot Rod Association Outlaw Nitro Series. It's back. 5 events, 4 locations, 1 explosive season, top fuel, funny cars, pro mods, and you in the stands. Nitro Nation. Get your tickets now at ihra.com. That's ihra.com.
It is 6:12. Residents of Kerrville, Texas, held a vigil Wednesday night at a local high school stadium to remember the victims of the deadly floods. More than 100 people died in the flooding. More than 170 remain missing. Kerrville-born Teresita Gove said she attended the vigil to show her love for her hometown.
The love that we have for one another. We're people, no matter what color you are. We're people, no matter what flags we're holding. We are people, and we love each other.
President Trump says he is planning to visit Texas tomorrow.
We asked a licensed psychologist at Cardinal Glennon Children's Hospital, how can parents keep anxiety in check when their kids have summer camp to attend? Dr. Erica Rutledge says it makes sense to be fearful but be proactive.
Being aware of where your child is going, are there any risks in that area? Talking with either the camp or counselors or the camp, what is their disaster emergency plan if something were to happen? And I think also as a family, creating your own disaster plan.
Several businesses operating under different names at the same Palmyra, Missouri address, but Sarah Wetzel of the Better Business Bureau is warning people to be careful using Great Writers Media or Cornerstone Literary Solutions. They may also go by Book Builder Studio or Writer's Nest Enterprise.
Not only have we received complaints about this company, we also receive negative reviews. So when you're paying a larger amount of money, just make sure you're doing your research, and so that way you can see what other people are saying about them.
The companies offer book writing, marketing, and publishing, as well as business development. Some complaints say they spent thousands of dollars and got no results and no refunds.
A big recall at Ford because of fuel pump problems.
That fuel pump can fail, leading to everything from a rough-running engine to that engine completely shutting down. This impacts more than 850,000 vehicles. That includes certain trims of the F-150 pickup, the Mustang, and the Lincoln Aviator. Owners will receive specific instructions in the mail.
This is Megan Lynch. Companies are cutting out middle managers. While it may be helping the bottom line, it's a loss in other ways. I'll talk with KMOX business analyst Jerome Katz about the trend.
We'll have that for you coming up at 6:22. Stay with us here on Total Information AM. It's now 6:15.
Let's talk some baseball and what happened last night. Cardinals fell 8-2 to the Washington Nationals, Matt Pauley.
The Cardinals don't have much of an answer against lefties right now. They lose 8-2 to the Nationals last night as Mackenzie Gore shuts them down. He joins a list of left-handed starters that have had their way with the Cardinals recently. As a team, the Cardinals hit .232 with a .660 OPS against lefties as compared to a .260 average and .739 OPS against right-handers. Manager Oliver Marmol acknowledges that this is a problem.
It's left-handed. I mean, he's just giving us trouble, man. There's no secret to it. We haven't done a nice job against him, but he's a good pitcher. He did a nice job. We were able to punch back with a single through the 6-hole, but other than that, man, just couldn't string a whole lot together. The reliever came in. We put some good swings on him initially, but couldn't put enough across the board on the righty. But yeah, we need to continue to hone in on how to get better against lefties. It's real.
The Cardinals are 16-18 in games started by an opposing lefty this year. At Busch Stadium, Matt Pauley, KMOX Sports.
Matt, meanwhile, the Cardinals pitcher Andre Palante gave up 7 runs on 8 hits in 6 innings of work. Inconsistency from Palante. His last start at Pittsburgh, he went 7 innings and gave up only a hit. He is working on a new pitch, he says.
Yeah, I mean, I felt like I threw some good pitches and some good chase spots there. Like, Abrams put 2 balls in play that I thought were in really good spots. I thought Call put some balls in play that were underneath the zone. It's learning curve. I'm still working on that, working on a new pitch to try and get that more chase for shade of righties. Wasn't great. Hasn't been great in the bullpen, so still trying to figure out how to make it move correctly and all that stuff. So still working on that. Could have pitched a little bit better, I think, in terms of smarter, just some pregame routine and kind of knowing what where I could have got some more miss. Fourth innings, ball in play. First inning, it's kind of like stringing that together. The walk to Bell's are really one that hurts because that's, that's not something I should be allowing to happen. And
Palante has continued what has been a shaky time here for this Cardinals rotation. The Cardinals' Miles Michaelis starts tonight. Last time he went out, he gave up 6 home runs. That was on a Friday night at Wrigley Field in Chicago. Cardinals do catch a break in that the Cubs lost again, so the Cardinals remain 5.5 out in the Central, but they had an opportunity to close within another game of the division-leading Cubs, just like the Brewers did. The Brewers beat the Dodgers 3-2 in 10 innings. They are now just a 1.5 games out in the National League Central. Well, help is on the way offensively. The Cardinals have a good one coming. He's going to play in the Futures game on Saturday in Atlanta, and last night he made his Memphis debut. He is J.J. Weatherholt, and he did this.
Top overall prospect appear for Memphis at AutoZone Park since when Walker was number 4. As that one's hit deep towards center field. That ball is gone! In his first game at AAA, J.J. Weatherholt homers to center field.
He's a good one. J.J. Weatherholt, the 7th overall pick in the MLB draft last year, already making waves in AAA after one day. He also had a triple in the game. The Cardinals have the number 5 overall pick in the draft coming up this weekend. I'm Tom Ackerman on the voice of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM KMOX.
Hi, I'm Andrew Suntrup. Buying your brand new Buick or GMC has never been easier. Here at Suntrup Buick GMC, our family-owned and operated dealership has been proudly servicing St. Charles County for over 30 years by always providing aggressive pricing, a massive inventory selection, and exceptional customer service. Buying from Suntrup means you get the best vehicle at the best price. Visit Suntrup Buick GMC today or visit us online at suntrupbuickgmc.com and save more at Suntrup Buick GMC.
Rolling hot dogs super fat on a fluffy bun. All beef
Hot dogs rolling in. Hurry, cause they're on the run. Pick your toppings anyway. Roll into this deal. Pick your two, big Q2. Roll and mix a meal. Mustard relish, sauerkraut. Ain't no need to scream and shout. Get 2 all beef hot dogs and a big Q for $5. Only at QT. More than a gas station.
Debbie Monterrey, Megan Lynch, Tom Ackerman. Total Information AM on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
It is 6:20. This is Total Information AM. I'm Debbie Monterrey, along with Tom Ackerman and also Roger Brand, who joins us from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center. It looks like a nice morning weather-wise. How are the roads looking?
Yeah, they're looking okay out there so far this morning, Debbie. For the most part, this traffic report is service of Terrace Senior Living of Eureka. Eastbound Highway 70 is all thinned out. Coming in through Wright City, Forestville, overnight roadwork. They're starting to put those barrier walls in place along the median as the I-70 project continues in the area. But no delays there now. They have the right lane closed still reportedly on northbound 270 at 44. That's because of an overnight crash from yesterday afternoon that involved a dump truck carrying a large piece of equipment that struck the overpass on the east side of the overpass. So they shut down that right lane as precaution. They were examining the overpass yesterday evening, and that's the latest we have there. So now a lot of volume on North 270. It still looks okay coming through the area. It's a little busy on northbound 55 approaching Butler Hill, but it looks good down south of McNutt. Looks good north of Palos. Westbound 64 west of Route 4. Emergency repair work, again, still not slowing anybody down there. Next update at 6:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Check out the Terrace in Eureka for affordable senior living with 24-hour nursing supervision, delicious meals, medication management, and activities. The Terrace is affordable and will work with your Medicaid plan. Go to rspseniorliving.com and look for the Terrace Private Assisted Living.
It's going to be a hot, humid day. High 92 today with real field temperatures in the upper 90s. So enjoy this mild weather this morning while you can. Mainly clear, warm, and humid tonight, low 75. Tomorrow, even hotter. Afternoon and evening thunderstorm in spots, high 95 for Friday. Real feels near 100. Saturday, we cool off a little bit, but it'll still be humid, a high of 87, and a couple of heavy thunderstorms around, especially Saturday afternoon, says AccuWeather's Joe Lundberg. Right now, it's 71 at Florissant, 70 in St. Peter's, clear and 70 downtown at the Arch.
The news continues at 6:22. Usually, stories about Winfield and water involve Mississippi River flooding, but the water issue there now is a conservation order after Winfield's main water valve shattered, forcing the city to shut off the main water line. That means the only water available is what's in the city's water tower, and residents are being asked to conserve water as much as possible until they can install an emergency bypass and repair the valve.
A new study shows that people who live in healthy states can live up to 8 years longer than people who live in unhealthy states. So what makes a state healthy? Researchers looked at pollution levels, smoking rates, hospital admissions, and access to gyms. Vermont named the healthiest state in America, followed by New Hampshire and Washington. The unhealthiest states, all in the South, Louisiana, Tennessee, and West Virginia.
X's CEO says she is leaving the social media platform owned by Elon Musk. Linda Yaccarino didn't explain why she's stepping down after 2 years, but said she's proud of the work the company has done to turn around the business. This comes a day after X's Grok wrote a wave of anti-Semitic posts following an update to the AI chatbot. CBS tech contributor Ian Scher says the timing of the departure is suspicious, but we may never know if there's a hidden reason.
And so her leaving is not terribly surprising, even when you consider everything going on. Like, yes, maybe she did take a stand and say that she's not comfortable with the AI being anti-Semitic, and that led to her departure. It's also possible that this was a long time coming, and it was never going to work, because working for Elon Musk, as many people who have worked for him have told us, is not fun or easy.
Grok is used to add context and fact checks to posts. It stopped responding to user requests yesterday after it started writing anti-Semitic posts.
A new analysis shows managers oversee more workers than before as companies shed middle management. Our Megan Lynch asked KMOX business analyst and SLU professor Jerome Katz about the trend.
We've gotten used to
hybrid work conditions where people are sometimes in the office and sometimes away from the office. There are some departments that have moved over to being totally remote. What top managers have figured out is that middle managers can manage a lot more people if they're dealing with folks remotely, because you're literally just getting on Microsoft Teams or Zoom for a couple minutes, and you might have 10 or 15 people on, and that takes care of your supervision for them for several hours.
Katz says it's a hard time to be a middle manager.
With the fact that middle management is declining across a broad range of American industries, there are a lot more people who are middle managers who are finding it really hard to get other jobs. And trying to move over to self-employment, if you've been a middle manager, there isn't an obvious path for a lot of industries. So it's a tough financial road for those middle managers who are getting laid off.
And he points out for companies, there's the risk of brain drain.
There is actually a lot of expertise in those people, and that expertise is getting lost to us. We're seeing how that plays out when middle managers in the federal government get let go as the government tries to downsize. And think of how many mistakes have started to pop up. And it's because the people who are there are stretching too far, don't have enough time to do everything. And sometimes we're missing the people who had the expertise, but they got laid off.
Overall, is this obviously helping companies' bottom line?
Yes. Getting rid of these people, middle managers make solid incomes. That's part of the goal, why it's been so many people's eventual career goal. So yeah, the money is good, but that also means the savings are good. So yes, that's what companies are trying to do. Part of that is there is this enormous push in our society, in our economy, to try and be as profitable as possible because of pressure from stockholders, particularly private equity firms and activist investors. And this kind of succumbing to this pressure is where letting go of middle managers and as many workers as possible comes from.
That's KMOX business analyst Jerome Katz. I'm Megan Lynch.
NVIDIA reached another milestone in its rise to becoming one of the world's most important companies, the first publicly traded company to reach a market value of $4 trillion. NVIDIA and other companies benefiting from the boom in artificial intelligence have been a major reason the S&P 500 has recently climbed to a record. Their explosion of profits has helped to propel the market despite worries about possible pain coming from tariffs and other policies of President Trump.
It's 6:27. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Founded in 1898, McKelvey Homes is Missouri's oldest and most respected name in home building. And where do you want to build? Where do you want to live? Cottleville, Darting Prairie, O'Fallon, Missouri? How about Chesterfield or Ellisville, Afton, Olivet, Creve Coeur? They build everywhere. Rock Hill. And right here in St. Louis, McKelvey Homes. Here's a testimonial from Tim Thompson and Michelle Nelson. They said, we have had an amazing experience with McKelvey Homes. Neither Michelle nor I had ever had a home built before, so we were excited, but also felt a little out of our depth. But there was no need for any anxiety. Everyone we dealt with at McKelvey was straightforward, quick to answer our questions, and good at what they do. When you're having a home built, there are many moving pieces, and McKelvey was there to help us through the process, helping with all the decisions on things from design to features, flooring, appliances, etc. They felt like they were always well taken care of, say Tim and Michelle. McKelvey Homes. Visit them online, McKelveyHomes.com, and move up to McKelvey.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, the timeshare cancellation guy. In 2011, I founded Wesley Financial Group with one goal in mind, to help honest folks out of their timeshares permanently. Today, I run Wesley with my two sons, a real family business, treating every client and every employee like we'd want our own family treated. That philosophy has helped us grow into the largest, most trusted timeshare cancellation company in the United States. Fortune magazine even recognized us as one of the best places to work. Why? Because we genuinely care. In fact, some of our former clients were so moved by their experience working with us, they joined our team so they could help others to timeshare freedom. If you're stuck in a timeshare, give us a call. Let our family help your family.
Call Wesley now for your free timeshare exit kit. 800-408-4040.
That's 800-408-4040. 800-408-4040.
Cardinal Cowboy here. After proving the doctors wrong following my accident, I got back to baseball, started kicking field goals, and finally got paid as a pro kicker and ultimately became a leader in the marketing world. That's why I trust Renner Garage Door, exceeding expectations for over 65 years. They service, sell, and install top brands like Delden, Amar, and LiftMaster. Get your free quote today. Check them out at RennerDoorSTL.com. Renner, forward and back. Giddy up!
RENNER, RENNER.
Who's been talking about St. Louis sports since 1985? Bernie Miklasz.
Ollie Marmol gets ripped a lot. Some of it is justified. Some of it is not justified. A lot of it is really naive because you assume the manager has this all-powerful, superhuman authority over everything. People can rip Ollie Marmol all they want. I will be fair about it. So if you don't like that, I don't care.
Bernie Miklasz on the voice of the St. Louis Cardinals. 104.1 FM KMOX.
It is 6:30, and right now we've got clear skies in downtown St. Louis. It is 70 degrees. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. Let's go to Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, there's a few more folks out there right now, Tom, but I'm looking at North 270 coming up through Gravois, headed up toward 44, and I really don't see much in the way of slow going to speak of. I don't see any brake lights coming on. And again, the right lane is closed, North 270 at 44, because yesterday afternoon, a piece of large equipment struck the east side of that 270 overpass on westbound 44 and created a real mess during the afternoon commute. MoDOT engineers were inspecting the bridge last night, but they keep that right lane closed for safety reasons on North 270. But again, not enough volume to slow you down so far there. Now, we are slow on northbound 55 approaching McNutt. The right lane's Butler Hill to Mattis, and it's a little busy Loughborough through Virginia on northbound 55 now. And a little volume southbound 61, seeing a little bit of a slowdown coming through Winslow Parkway down to 64 and 70. But once you get to 64 and 70, take your pick. They're both in great shape across the Missouri River bridges. And I'm starting to see delays as well. Westbound 64, just west of Route 4, where they have that emergency repair work in one of the lanes shut down. That'll be through tomorrow afternoon at 3:30. Next update at 6:40 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
It is going to be a mostly sunny day today with a high of 92. Along with the humidity, though, it's going to feel closer to the upper 90s. Tomorrow, we're looking at a 95-degree day, feeling more like 100 degrees. And we could see tomorrow an afternoon or evening thunderstorm in spots. And then for Saturday, we're looking at some heavy thunderstorms around. Right now, it's sunny downtown, 71 degrees.
Testy is how to describe the latest St. Louis City Board of Education meeting. There's still no resolution on what to do with students from tornado-impacted schools.
There's not concern so much about merging some elementary schools as there is about merging middle and high schools, which are rivals and have a history of violence. Longtime board member Donna Jones.
It's dangerous in the classroom. Children are not like they used to be back in the day. They're not listening.
Superintendent Millicent Borashati says she has not attended negotiating meetings because the union has been disrespectful of her. Board President Karen Collins-Adams.
We have to resolve this by Friday.
That's because they need to prepare buildings and move staff before school starts next month. Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
The Millennium Hotel is now under local ownership as the Gateway Arch Park Foundation has closed on a deal to purchase the vacant building and land. Executive Director of the foundation, Ryan McClure, says this deal could not be possible without their partnership with the public sector.
Over the past 9 months, we have worked with the City of St. Louis and Greater St. Louis, Inc. on a plan to redevelop this site. And an RFP process produced a vision and design from the Quarters companies, which you see here today.
The $670 million plan would develop a mixed-use space of residential, office, and commercial space, an amphitheater, and house the Arch's archives. The Gateway Arch Park Foundation and developer, the Cordish Companies, are awaiting their remediation plans approval before demolition can begin.
An aging shopping center in Chesterfield that Maryville University once eyed for its e-sports arena and dorms will get a new life as a mixed-use luxury condo development. The Woods Mill Center on South Outer 40 is currently being torn down. McBride Homes is developing the housing at Woods Mill Crossing, expected to be 14 buildings with 8 units each and underground parking. A lake, green spaces, and walking trails are also part of the plan. According to the Business Journal, there will be a large multi-tenant building that will include a restaurant and patio.
The news is sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com. We've got your money report from Bloomberg coming up next. It's 6:34.
Feel like everything's clouded by doubt? Visit CaliforniaPsychics.com. Our psychics are available to talk 24/7, and we guarantee if it's not life-changing, it's free. Experience the joy of certainty. California Psychics.
Check the back seat. Check the back seat.
Gets in your head, right? Good, because every year dozens of children are forgotten in the back seat. Cars get hot fast and can be deadly, so get it in your head. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Lanny went to college and racked up huge debt.
A little bit over $100,000.
For a degree he couldn't use? Now what?
I had a friend that went to My Computer Career.
They even helped him get hired immediately after graduation.
One of the things I love about IT is that you can work from anywhere you want.
You could become an IT pro in just months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu. My Computer Career, an elite CompTIA certification partner.
It worked for me, and I know it can work for you.
This is one student's experience. Individual results vary.
It is 6:35. This is Total Information AM. Thanks for being with us on this Thursday morning. It's time for your money report, sponsored by Eamon Gantner and Capriano Elder Law Attorneys. We get the latest from Kimberly Adams.
Good morning. Amazon's Big Prime Day is turning out to be lukewarm. The e-commerce giant took a gamble expanding the annual summer sale to 4 days from 2, hoping it would give shoppers more time to navigate millions of deals. So far, preliminary results from Momentum Commerce say that sales plunged 41% Tuesday compared with the start of last year's event, but Amazon says the numbers are, quote, highly inaccurate. Smartphone providers continue to set the bar a little higher with their creations. Now Samsung has just introduced 3 new foldable smartphones that are thinner, lighter, and include more artificial intelligence features in the software. They range in price from $900 to $2,000. All 3 are available to pre-order and will go on sale July 25th. And sources tell Bloomberg that the Italian company that makes Nutella is closing in on a deal to buy Kellogg, the maker of Fruit Loops and Frosted Flakes, for about $3 billion. With your Bloomberg Money Report, I'm Kimberly Adams on the Voice of St. Louis, 104.1 FM KMOX.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Our firm handles hundreds of crash cases involving semi-trucks every year. A crash case involving semis is much different, and if you don't know what you're doing, you can leave lots of money on the table. Many times there is separate insurance for the cab and for the trailer. Sometimes there are actually layers of other insurances and excess insurance that some lawyers may not know about because they don't see that many cases. We see these cases every day. Also, there are federal laws governing the hours a driver may drive in a 24-hour period and logs that are required. A crash case involving a semi-truck is a totally different animal than a simple car crash. We have lawyers who only handle these cases. It's all they do. Rolling the dice with the wrong law firm can be disastrous. Call us on your cell phone at Pound Law, pound 529. It's so easy. Injured? Dial Pound Law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. No, we're not one of the big guys. Truth is, we don't want to be. If you're over 50, Big Wireless probably has you paying for more data than you might need. You could be throwing away thousands over a lifetime. We're not here to be the biggest. We're here to bring you something we believe is better. Our plans start at just $20. You'll get the same fast nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com/facts or a store near you. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio.
Are you looking to hire? ZipRecruiter finds the best candidate for your job fast. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Cards manager Ollie Marmol joins the Gas House Gang every Tuesday at noon. Sponsored by Siteman Cancer Center on the Voice of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
It is 6:39. More charges have been filed in the July 4th shooting death of a 17-year-old bystander in Alton. Police say 20-year-old Tamadre Ballinger of Alton is facing 2 counts of first-degree murder and aggravated discharge of a gun. 44-year-old Brashonda Colley, also of Alton, was charged Wednesday with obstructing justice. 18-year-old Joshua Glenn Colley had been charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder and a couple of gun-related counts. Alton Police Chief Jarrett Ford says new charges reflect the unwavering dedication of law enforcement and a commitment to bring justice for the victim, Shabriah Hudson. More people are riding Metrolink. By State Development, which operates the Metro, says ridership is up 15% this year compared to last year at the 11 stations where turnstiles were installed. Those turnstiles are part of a $61 million security upgrade, which also includes a better camera system. Well, whether you are riding Metro today or Metro Bus, Metro Link, or driving your car, let's get you an update on traffic and weather. It is 6:40, and Roger Brand has the latest for us from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, there's some soul stuff out there right now, Debbie. This traffic reports a service of Gloria Lou with your home sold guaranteed realty. Northbound 270 starting to bog down. North of Gravway up to 44. Again, that right lane is closed north 270 at 44 from a crash yesterday afternoon where a westbound truck pulling a piece of heavy equipment struck that 270 overpass on the east side. So that's why the right lane's closed as a precautionary measure, and that's why it's a little busy through there right now. And then you're slow, Doherty Ferry, most of the way up to Manchester. After that, southbound 61, starting to see delays south of Highway P, down through Wentzville Parkway, most of the way to 64. Some of it's becoming stop and go. But once you get down to 64 or 70, but they both look great across the Missouri River bridges. On Clarkson at 40, there's a report of a crash. Northbound 55 from McNutt up through the Joachim Creek is heavy in the work zone. The right lane's a little busy north of Butler Hill. A backup north of Bayless. In a couple of spots, it's kind of slow up through about Holly Hills, and then it starts picking up the pace. Downtown, we look okay across the bridges. We do have that road work delay, that emergency repair work going on westbound 64 west of Route 4 that'll be out there through tomorrow afternoon at 3:30. The slowdowns begin at Route 4 because of that. Next update at 6:50 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Sponsored by Gloria Lou with your home sold guaranteed realty 314-325-6888.
Sell your home and you want the most money? The name to remember is Gloria Lou. Yes, Gloria Lou with your home sold guaranteed realty at 314-325-6888 and start packing.
It is 6:41, time for us to check in with our AccuWeather meteorologist, Joe Lundberg. Looks like we have some rain on the way.
We do. Most likely this weekend. I think today shouldn't be a problem. It should be mostly sunny and temperature this afternoon. We're working our way to a high of 92. The real field temperatures, they're going to get into the upper 90s, so it's going to be pretty uncomfortable this afternoon. Clear, warm, humid tonight, about 75. Tomorrow, sunshine mixes with clouds. It becomes a little hotter and humid with a high of 95. There may be a thunderstorm in the area during the afternoon and evening hours, but I think the real action is going to be over the weekend. A front approaches on Saturday, so clouds will limit sunshine. Temperatures upper 80s to almost 90, but thunderstorms are more and more likely later in the day. Gusty winds, downpours, hail, all on the table. Those should start to drift south and east of the area later Sunday. Clouds may break for some sun, the high of the upper 80s, back to some 90-degree heat with sunshine and a slight chance of a thunderstorm on Monday. Right now, it is 71 degrees in St. Peter, 73 in Florissant. It's 75 and clear downtown at the Arch. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
All right. Thank you, Joe. It is 6:42. Members of the St. Louis Board of Education vote unanimously to oppose the Millennium Hotel plan. They're not against the redevelopment, but say the 90% property tax abatement for 20 years is excessive. Here's board member Brian Marston.
To me, a 20-year 90% tax abatement is too long and too high. And it looks to me like building rich people stuff downtown on the backs of SLPS students.
Board President Karen Collins Adams says developers claim to want to rebuild the city, then demand tax breaks, which hurt city services. St. Louis University's Center for Vaccine Development is studying a new vaccine to treat yellow fever.
Yellow fever is transmitted by mosquitoes and could potentially be deadly. And while not a risk here in the U.S., it is for many people in more tropical countries and for those who travel there. Because of recent outbreaks of yellow fever, an additional vaccine is needed, and this one is safe for people with egg allergies, while the current one is not. Lead researcher Dr. Sarah George.
The new vaccine is made without any eggs,
and it is a slightly lower dose than the existing vaccine.
SLU is hoping to enroll up to 70 healthy volunteers between the ages of 18 and 60 to study the safety of the new vaccine. Yellow fever vaccination is required for travelers and military personnel going to certain African and South American countries where the yellow fever virus is present. Fred Bottomer, KMOX News.
CBS correspondent Michael George reports on the benefits of a plant-based diet.
Eating a plant-based diet may reduce your risk of inflammatory bowel disease, or IBD. Research published in Molecular Nutrition and Food Research found people who ate a healthy plant-based diet had an 8% lower risk of ulcerative colitis and a 14% lower risk of Crohn's disease. But there is such a thing as an unhealthy plant-based diet, which includes more vegetable oils, which raises the risk of IBD.
Is unveiling its new line of foldable devices.
Samsung has introduced several updates to its foldable devices lineup, the new Galaxy Z Fold 7 among them.
This is not just another phone.
The event was streamed online and also announced was an expanded partnership with Google to interject more artificial intelligence into its foldable lineup. The Fold 7 cell phone will retail starting at $2,000. Samsung's watches were also updated with Google's Gemini AI preloaded onto the devices. Matt Piper, CBS News, New York.
It is 6:45.
I'm Tom Ackerman. Andre Palante. Who's hot, who's not? Sponsored by St. Louis Composting. Palante was not last night. He fell, and the Cardinals did, to the Washington Nationals. Final score was 8-2. Here's Matt Pauley.
In the Cardinals' 8-2 loss to the Nationals, Andre Palante gives up 7 runs in 6 innings. Palante gives up a lot of hard contact as 14 balls leave Nationals bats with an exit velocity above 90 miles per hour. He also only collects 1 strikeout. Manager Oliver Marmol says this can happen with pitch-to-contact pitchers.
He's a high ball and play guy, and you're hoping it's at people. Hard contact wasn't, and some of the soft contact wasn't either. And you're going to have to live with those games. And you go into it knowing that that's a possibility. Is it ideal? No, but his good games, the curveball works for him. The speed difference is there. He gets ahead of guys and contacts at people. So you live and die off of the ball and play with him. It's just part of it.
The 7 runs allowed for Palante ties a career high. At Busch Stadium, Matt Pauley, KMOX Sports.
That comes after that brilliant outing last week at Pittsburgh, in which he received no run support, gave up just 1 hit in 7 innings of play. The last time Miles Michaelis went out, it was not pretty. Friday night at Wrigley Field, gave up 6 home runs in the game. Tonight, he will face Michael Soroka. It's a 6:45 first pitch for Miles, who is 4-6 with a 5.26 ERA. Soroka, just about the same, 3-6 with a 5.40 earned run average. And it'll be the matchup tonight for the Cardinals and the Nationals as the Cardinals try to win a series. Meanwhile, looking ahead to the weekend against the Atlanta Braves, pitching matchups are starting to come in. The projected starter on Friday is Matthew Liberatore, but Saturday is still TBD. We'll see what the Cardinals end up doing. Michael McGreevy is eligible to come up as soon as today. The Cardinals also on Sunday have a projected starter of Sonny Gray, but they are leaving that Saturday spot open for the time being. No official announcement. The Cardinals are 5.5 games out in the National League Central, trailing the Chicago Cubs. The Cubs lost again yesterday. They've lost back-to-back games. The Brewers took advantage of that by beating the Dodgers. They're only 1.5 games out now, Milwaukee, in the NL Central. The wild card standings have the Mets, Brewers, and Giants owning the 3 spots in the National League, with the Padres 1 game out and the Cardinals sitting 1.5 games out of the wild card race. I'm Tom Ackerman, St. Louis Composting. Love talking about him because first time we've used him this past spring. I started talking about St. Louis Composting. And of course, when I do that, I try the service so I can tell you how good it is. So I went to stlcompost.com. What I didn't realize is that you don't just order mulch. You go through an entire menu of different kinds of mulch, and they tell you if anything is out of stock, which it looks like just 1 bag right now is. Everything else, all kinds of different kinds of, who knew there were that many different kinds of mulch? stlcompost.com. You can order online compost, mulch, soil. You can go buy the bag. They have all kinds of information there, and they have 9 locations throughout the St. Louis region. St. Louis Composting, stlcompost.com, stlcompost.com, bulk delivery or just a few bags of compost, soil, and mulch.
KMOX and 97.1 FM Talk are proud to support the first ever Brendan Donovan Charity Clay Shoot, happening Thursday, August 7th at Staffelman Farms Club in Weldon Spring. Join Cardinal standout Brendan Donovan, teammates, and local celebrities for a day of clay shooting and community, all to benefit Team Red, White, and Blue, and their mission to support veterans' health and wellness. Sponsorships and shooter spots are going fast. Visit teamrwb.org/Donovan now to sign up. Show your support and make a difference for those who have served.
2 legendary bands, 1 epic night, Collective Soul,
And live are bringing the rock to St. Louis. Catch their summer unity tour at Hollywood Casino Amphitheater July 17th with special guest Braylon James Rue. Don't miss your chance to hear such hits as Shine, December, I Alone, and All Over You. Collective Soul and live. Tickets can be found at Ticketmaster.com. For more info, KMOX.com/events.
Your morning news and information. Total Information AM.
It is 6:50. This is Total Information AM. Let's check in with Roger Brand. He has the latest on your ride in from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, slow traffic out there on some of these highways now, Debbie. This traffic reports the service of Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, and Electrical northbound 270. Bogs down north of Gravel up through 44. The right lane's closed there. Still a couple of slow spots. A big bend up toward Manchester after that. Not terrible, but it is busy. Southbound 61, seeing some slow traffic right around Highway P, about midway down to Wentzville Parkway. After that, it picks up the pace a bit, and it's not as bad. Eastbound 64, 94 to Research Park looks a little busy as well. If you're traveling in on eastbound 70, that's a good run going from Wright City really all the way in through to the Blanchette Bridge. Northbound 55, you've got that stretch around McNutt is cleared out, but it's a jam now. Northbound 55 looks like we may have trouble, a crash just north of River to Pear, so it's a backup at Bayless. Lane restrictions there. Downtown a little heavy. Route 3 to the Poplar on westbound 64, and of course that emergency repair work westbound 64 west of Route 4 has delays about midway into 159. Next update at 6:58 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
The mountains came over, we were having spaghetti when we suddenly noticed and we started getting sweaty. So we grabbed the keys and we ate it in the van. That's what my friend said, call Jerry Kelly, man, JerryKelly.com. Give him a call even though it's late, JerryKelly.com.
Well, it's a nice morning right now. AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg says that will not last. Sunny, hot, and humid today, a high of 92 degrees. AccuWeather real field temperatures in the upper 90s. And you think that's hot, check out tomorrow. Mainly clear tonight, warm and humid, low 75. Tomorrow, sun mixing with clouds, hot and humid. An afternoon and evening thunderstorm in spots. Friday's high 95 with real feels near 100. Currently, it's 72 in Florissant, 71 in St. Peter's, sunny and 72 downtown at the Arch.
The news continues at 6:52. A St. Louis native who has been one of the most powerful people in sports is charged with rigging bids over the construction of a new arena. The Justice Department is charging Oakview Group CEO Tim Lewicki with conspiracy to eliminate competition. He allegedly promised operations contacts to a rival if that other company didn't compete with him to build the new basketball arena at the University of Texas. Oakview operates hundreds of arenas nationwide. A spokesman for him said Mr. Lewicki has done nothing wrong and will vigorously defend himself.
AP correspondent Karen Shamus reports on track and field athletes fight against sex eligibility rules.
Two-time Olympic champion runner Caster Semenya has won a partial victory at the European Court of Human Rights. Semenya has been embroiled in a 7-year legal fight against track and field sex eligibility rules. The court's 17-judge highest chamber has said that Semenya had her rights to a fair hearing violated at Switzerland's Supreme Court. It was in Switzerland that she had appealed against a ruling by the Court of Arbitration for Sport in favor of track and field's World Athletics. Her case should now go back to the Swiss Federal Court in Lausanne. Europe's top human rights court in Strasbourg, France, dismissed other aspects of Semenya's appeal. I'm Karen Shamas.
Superman flies into theaters this weekend, marking the start of a new DC universe. Nathan Fillion, who plays Green Lantern Guy Gardner in the film, will also appear in season 2 of Peacemaker and the upcoming series Lanterns. But just because the movie is rated PG, Nathan is already hinting that the next 2 appearances will be for more mature audiences.
It's a much more intense story, but it also exists within that same universe. Nothing is happening in a bubble. It's all part of the same universe, and James is very good about keeping it all contiguous. At the same time, I'll say I have dropped more F-bombs in Lanterns than I have in my entire career put together.
There is no release date yet for Lanterns. It's probably a safe bet. It will have a mature audiences advisory attached to it. Season 2 of Peacemaker comes out August 21st.
In a full circle moment, San Francisco's late Say Hey Kid is giving back to disadvantaged kids, much like adults did in his life. Correspondent Brett Burkhardt reports much of the Major League Baseball memorabilia collected by Willie Mays is going up for auction.
He wanted all of his proceeds to go towards the Willie Mays Say Hey Foundation, which is just amazing.
David Hunt is the president of Hunt Auctions, who says the wishes of Willie Mays was to fulfill his dream of giving every child a chance, much like he was afforded.
Never losing sight of service. And that's just what it's really special.
Hunt would know. He knew Willie Mays.
I've been just honored and humbled to get to know Willie over all those years, over about 20 years.
Which is why he doesn't take the auction lightly.
So a player on Willie's level with his legacy, that is what we protect first and foremost.
But given the wishes of Mays, Hunt Auctions is offering a rare opportunity to own some of the most precious items, from his most valuable player award, 3 of his cars, and his Presidential Medal of Freedom.
The fact that Willie decided to do this and part with that piece to do good for others that weren't as fortunate as him, I mean, there's really, what else can I say to add to that?
The auction takes place on September 27th at the King Street Warehouse next to Oracle Park.
Just add another layer onto that as far as his legacy is concerned.
I heard it's somebody's birthday.
Birthday excitement. It's your birthday. Happy birthday.
Hearing about Willie Mays' family doing that reminds me of Lou Brock. Boy, do I miss Lou Brock a lot. Happy birthday to another Hall of Famer, Andre Dawson. Boy, I liked Dawson growing up. He was the only Cub that I liked. He is 71 today.
Birthday shout out is sponsored by Renner Garage Door, RENNER, forward and back, family owned and top rated, RennerDoorSTL.com. If you have a birthday or announcement you'd like announced, totalam@KMOX.com is the email, totalam@KMOX.com. Mike Griffin, happy birthday from your friends at work. Also, happy birthday to Marie Pageant, Meredith Lucas, Lynn Williamson, and Anna Buckheit from the Spring family.
This is the best birthday ever.
Joke about Uncle Sam's new tax short form. The first line says, "How much did you make?" The next line says, "Send it in." Really? Not that funny, but that's what a lot of people do in retirement. They take money out of their 401k or IRA and end up sending it in when they pay taxes. Steve All of the All Financial Group invites you to take their tax challenge. What if your current plan included thousands of dollars in unnecessary taxes and fees, or maybe higher Medicare premiums or a lower Social Security check? What if the savings you realized could allow you to retire early? Wouldn't you want to know about that right now? Take the All Financial Group Tax Challenge and find out. There's no charge. Call Steve today at 636-230-8824. That's 636-230-8824. Or online at yourmoneymattersstl.com.
Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Steve All, NPN number 153-07419.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at LanceDruryLaw.com.
We all have someone we love, like the favorite lyric in our favorite song. You can't imagine life without them. So tell them today, I love you. Get screened. It could help save their life. Visit cancer.org/getscreened to learn more.
Cardinal Hall of Famer Jason Isringhausen and Eddie Scholler from the world-famous Fast Eddie's Bon Air.
Hey, buddy, have you came over and looked at the new Eddie at Fast Eddie's? I finally got a new item. You know, it's been decades.
decade. More like 40 years to figure out how to put a piece of shrimp on there with your steak.
I've known you for 40 years. You could have said something. Well, who'd have thought the Elwood could even get better? But we did it. We went and we made the Eddie. It's a foot-long serving turf.
Not that I needed another reason to bring the whole gang down there. I'm still going to order those big Elwoods, the succulent peel and eat shrimp, the hot chick on a stick, and that famous Fast Eddie burger. And I'm always going to get one of those ice-cold frosty ones and listen to that live music on that patio every afternoon and evening.
Well, I just love adding another great item for everybody to come over and enjoy. When you come on over the beautiful Clark Bridge to look at the picturesque Mississippi River.
Picturesque. That's very eloquent.
Thank you very much.
Well, like Mr. Shannon says, if you're 21 and in the mood, come on over to picturesque Alton, Illinois, and see the very eloquent Eddie at Fast Eddie's Bon Air.
It's Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, I can't see what lane's blocked, Tom, but we do have a crash northbound 55 just before Loughborough. It's a solid jam back to the Union Road overpass, so be prepared if you're coming up on 55. Other than that, the right lanes are just a little busy passing Butler Hill. North 270, you have some slow stuff from Tesson Ferry up to Gravelway. After that, not bad. Around Big Bend up through Manchester, then you'll see a couple of slowdowns. Southbound 61, south of P down to 70, and 64 is just kind of slow, but once you hit 70 and 64, not bad. Eastbound Highway 70, a good run across the Blanchard, 64 across the Boone. Downtown, we're okay across the Poplar. We do have roadwork delays, though, on westbound 64. Approaching Route 4, they're doing roadwork about midway between 4 and 159. That'll wrap up tomorrow afternoon. From the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
News, talk, cards. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
This is the CBS News World News Roundup, sponsored by O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. It could have turned out much worse in Los Angeles.
We are getting reports of a tunnel collapse.
Emergency crews reporting a sanitation tunnel under construction had partially caved in with 31 workers deep inside. Correspondent Carter Evans is on the scene in Wilmington.
After the collapse of the 18-foot diameter tunnel, uncertainty followed.
Ask the police, please let me through. My husband's in there.
Chelsea Fernandez says she got an alert on her phone and ran to the site.
And I just want to know if he's okay. They said they couldn't give me any information, but he called and he said he's out and everything's going to be okay.
Workers stepped inside a metal cage that was hoisted by a crane to the surface. All trapped workers were safely extricated. No injuries were reported.
The cause is under investigation. Texas state flags fly at half-staff almost a week after catastrophic flash flooding that took at least 120 lives in Hill Country. More than 170 people are still missing. Josh Smithson attended a vigil in Kerrville County last night.
This is the beginning of healing, is us finding a way to be together as a community outside of search and rescue and volunteering and things like that. This was a night where the community could just come together just to be.
In Kerr County, the Secret Service has suspended 6 agents assigned to protect President Trump on the day of last year's assassination attempt at a rally in Butler, Pennsylvania. CBS's Nicole Skanga.
CBS News has learned 6 personnel were suspended without pay, then placed into restricted duty, roles with less operational responsibility.
Experts believe they've cracked the mystery of how the Scottish Isles were created.
Scientists have long asserted that a single massive volcanic eruption created the beauty spots we know today as Skye and Mull, until geologist Jessica Pugsley used new technology to examine one old rock formation.
She flew a drone around the area and made 3D models.
What she found:
evidence of fountaining, lots of a kind of dynamic activity.
60 million years ago, the area was a seething mass of molten lava spewing into the sky from fissures in the earth, like those found in Hawaii and Iceland. Vicki Barker, CBS News, London.
Thailand's famous baby hippo is celebrating a birthday.
It's Mulan.
Fans, some wearing gray Mudang-inspired hats, have come from as far away as New York for a 4-day party at the zoo where the blubbery little pygmies just turned 1. Mudang became a viral sensation when she was born, even inspiring her own song and dance. One admirer sponsored a $4,500 fruitcake for the celebration. This is CBS News.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Paul's new drone startup just lost its most genius computer scientist.
We just lost our best genius to some new genius who's got a genius new idea.
I'm going to have to find a new genius or two half geniuses and fast.
He needs a computer scientist that can keep his startup from falling down.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, it's easier for talented candidates to find it, which makes it easier for you to hire them. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Did you know you can get your prescriptions for less at your local pharmacy? You can with GoodRx. It's the free app that can save you money on your medications. Just search for your prescription, choose the pharmacy and the price that works best for you, and then show your GoodRx coupon to your pharmacist at the drop-off counter. GoodRx works at over 70,000 pharmacies, including Walmart, Rite Aid, and Walgreens, and it works whether you have insurance or not. It's easy to save. Next time you drop off your prescription, check GoodRx. To start saving today, go to GoodRx.com. GoodRx is not insurance.
It is 7:04. We've got some bright sunshine in downtown St. Louis. It is 72 degrees. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. The news is sponsored by the St. Louis Aquarium at Union Station. A long vacant downtown building is back under local ownership.
The Gateway Arts Park Foundation is celebrating the closure of a deal to purchase the Millennium Hotel. Their plan with the Cordish companies calls for tearing down the hotel and building 1.3 million square feet of mixed-use space. When that begins is still to be determined, says Foundation Executive Director Ryan McClure.
We are just awaiting approval on our remediation plan for the site. So there's a lot of asbestos, there's a lot of mold, there's a lot of toxic things that need to come out of that building before it would be demolished.
The Cordish Companies is also the developer behind Ballpark Village. The Gateway Arts Park Foundation says per their purchasing contract, they cannot publicly reveal how much it costs to obtain the property. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
I'm Michael Calhoun. There's already opposition, not to the Millennium redo itself, but to developer Cordish Company's plan to seek a break on 90% of the property tax for 20 years. Both of those numbers sound unusually high to St. Louis Public Schools Board President Karen Collins-Adams.
There are too many businesses that are coming up that have the money to take care of building back St. Louis without building them on the backs of our students.
Board member Ben Conover notes the district can't really do anything about the deal.
We don't control the value of abatements or any other tax incentives, and we don't have a direct ability to change any board bills. This isn't our real estate in any meaningful sense.
But he does say that added up, all the abatements in the city equal $38 million a year that the district isn't getting. All of the board members voted unanimously on a resolution to oppose the Millennium deal.
Governor Mike Kehoe has some bill signings planned in St. Louis today. One allows for the special entertainment district to be established downtown. The other modifies current state regulations on alcoholic beverages. The governor will sign that bill at the Anheuser-Busch Brewery.
Time waits for nobody, and you never know when your last day will come.
Some wisdom from the daughter of fallen St. Louis City firefighter Lee Krause, who wrote a letter that her mom read out loud during yesterday's funeral.
Take the trip. Eat the new food. Pick up the hobby you've been putting off. Live authentically so that when your time does come, there are no regrets, just unfinished tasks. And that's from Cameron Krause.
Lee Krause served 30 years as a city firefighter. He passed away while on duty from a medical emergency last week.
More charges have been filed in the July 4th shooting death of a 17-year-old bystander in Alton. Police say 20-year-old Tamadre Ballinger is facing first-degree murder and aggravated gun charges. 44-year-old Brashonda Colley charged with obstructing justice. 18-year-old Joshua Glenn Colley has already been charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder and a few gun-related counts. Alton Police Chief Jarrett Ford says those new charges reflect the unwavering dedication of law enforcement and a commitment to bring justice for the victim, Shabriah Hudson.
They promise to write your story, market your book, or do your digital marketing, but the Better Business Bureau is warning people about doing business with Great Writers Media of Palmyra, Missouri. Sarah Wetzel says they've received a number of complaints like
they paid them $6,000 for marketing. They would, get her, the program where they were going to put it on social and make it this big thing where they were going to make lots of money. And that just didn't happen.
Wetzel says the BBB is getting no response from the company, which also does business as Cornerstone Literary Solutions. They're giving the company an F rating.
Usually stories about Winfield somehow involve the Mississippi River flooding, but the water issue in Winfield now is a conservation order after the city's main water valve shattered, forcing the city to shut off the main water line. That means the only water available is what's in the city's water tower, and residents are being asked to conserve water as much as possible until they can install an emergency bypass and repair that valve.
We have a backup on northbound 55 right now. We'll check in with Roger Brand on the source of that next. It's 7:08.
The trip of the summer is coming. Collective Soul. Live. Summer Unity Tour 2025. July 17th, Hollywood Casino Amphitheater with Our Lady Peace. Special guest, Graylin James Rue. Tickets on sale now at livenation.com. Collective Soul. Live. Our Lady Peace. Together.
Ready to make lake life a reality? With Anywhere Lombardo at Lake of the Ozarks, you can build a home designed just for you. Whether it's a cozy retreat or a luxurious lakeside escape, our custom designs bring your vision to life, set against stunning lake views and peaceful surroundings, the perfect balance of relaxation and adventure. With a trusted builder backed by long-standing vendor relationships, you'll enjoy cost savings and superior quality from start to finish. Start your dream home today with Anywhere Lombardo. Visit lombardohomes.com to learn more.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts.
I was just saying that trio of bands they were announcing there takes me back to college. I may go put on a flannel shirt and
Now we're reminiscing. Oh, that was a good song.
go see them. Roger Brand, you're in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, I got a view of this crash now, Tom. Northbound 55 that I mentioned in the last couple of reports. It's in the left lane, northbound 55, right at River de Pere there, just to get across into the city. So northbound 55 is a solid jam back through the Union Road overpass. Other than that, North 55 at McNutt looks fine. It's just a little busy in the right lanes north of Butler Hill. On Butler Hill at 55, we have an injury crash. They called out emergency crews for it. North 270 doing better. I'm just seeing a slowdown now. Just Big Bend through Doherty Ferry, and that's all she wrote after that. Southbound 61, south of Highway P, down through Wentzville Parkway, mainly just a slowdown there. Once you hit 70 or 64, it's a good run out across the Missouri River bridges. If you're traveling on the Illinois side, of course, we have this emergency repair work westbound 64 west of Route 4. There's over a mile plus backup in the area. Not a jam, but a heavy slowdown. That right lane, I believe it's the right lane. They have a lane closed until tomorrow afternoon at about 3:30 p.m. So just to keep that in mind. We also have a crash reported now on North Lindbergh at Lindsay Lane up in the Hazelwood area. They called out emergency crews for that. And McKinley Bridge just a little slow on the Missouri side headed across from Illinois. Next update at 7:20 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Mostly sunny today, hot and humid this afternoon, high 92 with AccuWeather. The real field temperatures headed to the upper 90s. Mainly clear, warm, and humid tonight, though 75. Tomorrow, sunshine mixing with clouds, a hot, humid day. Maybe an afternoon or evening thunderstorm in the area, high 95 with those real feels around 100. For Saturday, clouds, some sun, breezy, and not as warm, but still humid. A couple of heavy thunderstorms are likely, especially in the afternoon, the high Saturday, 87. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Plenty of sunshine, 72 degrees right now in downtown St. Louis.
It's 7:11 on Total Information AM. An early morning blaze in South St. Louis happened in a familiar location today for firefighters. They recognized the vacant home on Ellenwood as the same one where they put out flames within the past year. No injuries reported. Neighbors say there may have been some homeless people living in the basement.
St. Louis police arrested dozens of young people over the 4th of July weekend, but do they have the legal right to give parents citations for their children's actions?
Under state law, I couldn't find any provision that would allow the city to do this. But there's actually a city code that allows the police to do this.
KMOX legal analyst Brad Young says the case of Michigan school shooter Ethan Crumbly, where both of his parents were convicted of involuntary manslaughter, showed it could be done.
The penalties are not as severe, obviously, as what we saw with the situation in Wisconsin, but the concept is the same.
Under the city's code, parents cited for their kids' actions could face up to $500 in fines or be imprisoned for up to 90 days.
Richmond Heights police say they arrested a man Wednesday afternoon for allegedly firing a gunshot in the parking lot of the Galleria. They say it appears related to a domestic incident between a man and woman that began elsewhere. When the woman tried to escape from a car, police say the man restrained her and fired the weapon once near her feet.
St. Louis City Sheriff Alfred Montgomery survived his first court hearing about his potential removal.
Judge Stephen Omer denied the Attorney General's motion to remove Montgomery from office pending adjudication and set a trial date for November 10th. Amongst the counts filed by the Attorney General against Sheriff Montgomery is that he stepped outside his authority by having the Deputy Commissioner of Corrections detained. Montgomery's private attorney, Justin Gelfand, says otherwise.
The sheriff for the city of St. Louis has certain law enforcement rights and responsibilities as long as they are incidental to the tasks and the work of the sheriff.
Montgomery's team claims his detaining of Deputy Commissioner Ross was within his responsibilities. After the hearing, Missouri Attorney General Andrew Bailey's legal team declined to comment. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
Who needs humans in the OR when robots get the job done more efficiently?
Hopkins University reports a robot responding to voice commands has aced a gallbladder removal on a lifelike patient. The bot had trained on videos of actual surgeons doing the procedure on pig cadavers. It did take a little longer, but scientists say the mechanical stand-in performed the operation with 100% accuracy. A Hopkins medical roboticist says it brings the medical community a giant step closer to clinically viable autonomous surgical systems that can work in the messy, unpredictable reality of actual patient care. Deborah Rodriguez, CBS News.
So last hour we talked about AI replacing musicians because there's a AI band, completely fake, that apparently has a hit album now. I guess we don't need doctors anymore. We don't need anyone. We just need robots and AI. We're all out of jobs, folks.
You need news anchors, sportscasters.
Yes.
They can't do what we do, right?
At least we hope not.
There's no way. Let's turn our attention. There's no way AI could do what John Rooney does. Not a chance. Here it is. The broadcast last night. It was a tough one, guys.
With Ricky Gordon, I'm John Rooney, and we've said many, many times, you're only as good as that night's starting pitcher. And Andre Palante didn't have it last night as the Nationals beat him and beat the Cardinals 8-2.
Ugly game for the Cardinals. Mackenzie Gore, the all-star, pitched for the Nationals, gave up a run in the first inning. Alec Burleson had a base hit the other way, scoring Contreras, but nothing else after that. Cardinals just couldn't figure out the Nats pitching, and the runs just piled up against Andre Palante, who was not sharp.
Nathaniel Lowe, a 3-run homer in the first inning. Later on, Ahmed Rosario hit one, and so did James Wood. That ball Wood hit to center field. Is still going.
433 feet. I literally never saw it land. Cardinals go for a series win today.
And that's behind Miles Michaelis. Miles comes into the game with a record of 4-6. He'll be opposed by right-hander Michael Soroka. He's 3-6. Airtime 550. Ricky has the lineups at 6:35. I'll bring you the first pitch at 6:45.
With more, here's KMOX's Matt Pauley.
The Cardinals don't have much of an answer against lefties right now. They lose 8-2 to the Nationals last night as Mackenzie Gore shuts them down. He joins a list of left-handed starters that have had their way with the Cardinals recently. As a team, the Cardinals hit .232 with a .660 OPS against lefties as compared to a .260 average and .739 OPS against right-handers. Manager Oliver Marmol acknowledges that this is a problem.
It's left-handed. I mean, he's just giving us trouble, man. There's no secret to it. We haven't done a nice job against him, but he's a good pitcher. He did a nice job. We were able to punch back with a single through the 6-hole, but other than that, man, just couldn't string a whole lot together. The reliever came in. We put some good swings on him initially, but couldn't put enough across the board on the righty. But yeah, we need to continue to hone in on how to get better against lefties. It's real.
The Cardinals are 16-18 in games started by an opposing lefty this year. At Busch Stadium, Matt Pauley, KMOX Sports.
Well, Matt, I have a player to bank on for you. It's sponsored by Community America Credit Union, investing in you. He's coming, and he's already started with a bang at AAA, J.J. Weatherholtz.
Top overall prospect appear for Memphis at AutoZone Park since when Walker was number 4. As that one's hit deep towards center field. That ball is gone! In his first game at AAA, J.J. Weatherholt homers to center field. 424 feet dead center. He has a triple and a homer.
He blasted it, a triple and a home run in his first game as a Memphis Redbird. The Redbirds, however, swept in the doubleheader against Charlotte. Weatherholt, the number 7 pick in the Major League Baseball draft last year. He's already made it to AAA. The Cardinals have the 5th overall pick in the upcoming MLB draft at the All-Star break. And Weatherholt will appear for the Futures team in the National League on Saturday in Atlanta. I'm Tom Ackerman on the voice of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Your home for St. Louis Cardinals baseball. 104.1 FM. KMOX.
Hey, it's Matt, your leaf filter trusted pro. Gutters are an often neglected part of the home. They're also one of the most important. Clogged, overflowing gutters can cause serious problems like foundation damage or basement flooding, which can cost thousands of dollars to fix. Let's face it, cleaning gutters yourself is not only a hassle, it can be dangerous. But when you get Leaf Filter, you'll never have to worry about cleaning clogged gutters again. Get started today by visiting leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free inspection. If you decide to move forward, we'll professionally clean, realign, and seal your gutters before installing our patented stainless steel micro mesh system. Leaf Filter keeps out everything but the water. And it's backed by a lifetime transferable no clogs warranty. So you're protected for good. We're in your neighborhood and ready to help. Visit Leaf Filter today for a free inspection and estimate, and you could save up to 30%. Visit leaffilter.com/deal. That's leaffilter.com/deal.
If you are running a business, launching a brand, or leading a team, the nitrous effect might be the creative advantage you didn't know you needed. The nitrous effect, not just one agency, it's a collection of creative service experts based right here in St. Louis, working together as one team to solve big business challenges. Founded by Keith Alper. He's a creative visionary, a local entrepreneur. And the nitrous effect includes some names you probably already know: CPG Agency, Upbrand, Eventive. These are the folks who brought experiences and brands to life for local organizations like Lion's Choice and the St. Louis Zoo and BJC Healthcare and Wash U. National brands like Southwest Airlines. The nitrous effect, proudly based in St. Louis, making national waves, proving you don't need to go to the coasts for world-class thinking. The nitrous effect. Specialty agencies working as one team, driving real results. Go to nitrouseffect.com.
Now the news at 9, The Talk. The Chris and Amy Show on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Hey, let's check in right now with Roger Brand. It is 7:20. This is Total Information AM, and Roger's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Debbie, MoDOT showed up on the scene, and they're going to try to clear this crash, but the left lane's still blocked right now on northbound 55 right at River to Pear. Northbound 55 is at a standstill back pretty much at Revis Barracks right now. Looks like they moved one vehicle over, so I'm not sure if they'll be able to move them all over. But anyway, left lane's still closed, north 55 at River to Pear, unfortunately. Northbound 55 is also slow south of Butler Hill most of the way up to 270. North 270, north of Sappington through Gravois, slow. Big Bend up toward Doherty Ferry. There's a minor crash on the shoulder before that point, and then it's a little busy again. One more time at Manchester. Southbound 61, stop-and-go pockets from Highway P down past Wensville Parkway to 6470. Eastbound 64 slow, midway in from Winghaven toward Highway K. After that, it looks good all the way through the Interbelt. Westbound 64 around the city limits, picking up a little volume. Eastbound 70 looks good coming in from out Wentzville way. Downtown, we're still okay at the Poplar Street Bridge. Northbound Route 3, those jammed from Queenie up to Monsanto. Probably a train crossing there. And the emergency repair work continues westbound 64 west of Route 4. It jams out Route 4 now because of it. Next update at 7:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Weather today, AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg says sunny, hot, and humid, high of 92 degrees. Real feels in the upper 90s. Clear, warm, and humid, low 75 tonight. And then tomorrow, even hotter, high 95. Real feels near 100 with an afternoon and evening thunderstorm in spots. Saturday, heavy thunderstorms around, especially in the afternoon, high 87. Sunday, clouds and sun, chance of a thunderstorm, high of 88 degrees. Currently, it's bright and sunny in downtown St. Louis at 73 degrees, and the weather sponsored by Fairmount Park Casino and Racing. Long Shots Restaurant is now open. Enjoy delicious food, refreshing drinks, and unbeatable trackside views. Fairmount Park Casino and Racing. Twice the action, double the fun. 20 minutes from St. Louis.
The news continues at 7:22. While the search teams continue their work in the Texas Hill Country, some are trying to begin the healing process. KRLD reporter Scott Russell, make that Russell Scott, spoke with people at a vigil last night.
500 people showed up here at Kerrville's football stadium. Josh Smithson says it was a needed night for a lot of the locals. There was prayer and conversation and just community.
This is the beginning of healing, is us finding a way to be together as a community outside of search and rescue and volunteering and things like that. This was a night where the community could just come together just to be.
Still a lot to be done here, but it appears the healing process has at least started for many. Russell Scott for CBS News, Kerrville, Texas.
It's likely your kids have seen or heard about what happened. How do we talk to them about it?
Dr. Erica Rutledge is a licensed psychologist with SSM Health Cardinal Glennon Children's Hospital. Because natural disasters are out of our control, Dr. Rutledge says that increases anxiety and stress in kids and adults.
Really the first thing before talking to kids, making sure you as the caregiver can ground yourself, taking a deep breath, recognizing this is a tragedy, this is something that was scary, that's really sad, and that is okay, and that all the feelings that you're having about that are okay, and processing it with your peers and coworkers can be really helpful too, so you get that release as the caregiver before you start talking with your child.
Rutledge says let the child lead. This might not be something that's really affecting them or that they understand.
But also being mindful of media content and what they're watching either online or on the TV. And if something does come up, you can, just ask them like, oh, are you having any thoughts or worries about this? Or what comes up with you when you see things like this?
If you do have a child that's noticed this tragedy and it's affecting them,
really just recognizing if there is some either regression in symptoms. So sometimes for younger kids who may be really scared or affected by this, they may, have some bedwetting or want to sleep with you, or for kids that maybe had plans to go away to camp may have increased separation anxiety. For caregivers, I think noticing and acknowledging that, giving them the space to talk about it, encouraging them to process it through play, through drawing, and, really just being able to sit there with them. You don't necessarily have to fix anything. This is a natural process. And the fact that your child is really affected by this, this means your child is really compassionate, is really, experiencing this empathy, which are great things and are really going to be helpful for them as they grow up.
You can listen to our entire interview with Dr. Rutledge on the Total Information AM podcast page. Fred Bottomer, KMOX News.
Officials say more than 120 people died in the flash floods over the July 4th holiday. More than 160 are still believed to be missing in hard-hit Kerr County. Search crews and volunteers are continuing to scour miles along the Guadalupe River for the people still missing. The floods are now the deadliest from inland flooding in the U.S. since 1976.
New Army grooming standards could force some men out of the service.
A new U.S. Army policy will prevent soldiers with skin conditions from getting waivers that allow them to avoid shaving. It could disproportionately affect black troops. 60% of black men have ingrown hairs or razor bumps, a medically diagnosable condition. The Army will still grant other medical or religious reasons to allow men to grow beards. Soldiers who can't comply with grooming standards that require them to be clean-shaven within a reasonable time may be kicked out of the Army. The updated policy is similar to one the Marines announced back in March. Steve Kathan, CBS News.
There's been a prime mistake in Northern California.
A woman in San Jose is up to her eyeballs in Amazon packages that she never ordered because a Chinese company that sells faux leather car seat covers didn't know what to do with its ill-fitting products or hundreds of complaints. It decided to give out Amy's address for returns. She says the bombardment began a year ago and hasn't stopped. Now hundreds of packages cover her stoop, her yard, and her driveway. She says Amazon's customer service has promised it'll stop, even offered a $100 gift card for her troubles. Amy says they also told her it was her job to get rid of the packages. Now, Amazon claims it's planning to pick them all up. Deborah Rodriguez, CBS News.
It is 7:27, the time check sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
HIMS.com. Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED because millions of men experience it, but not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. Well, HIMS can help. Through HIMS.com, you can get a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. It all starts with an online intake form. Get started at HIMS.com/joy, and from there, a medical provider licensed in your state will determine if ED treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs with options up to 95% less than the brand names. Millions of men experience ED, but HIMS can help. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to HIMS.com/joy. That's HIMS.com/joy for your free online visit. HIMS.com/JOY.
I love a day on the water with friends, but my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis sometimes holds me back. Now I'm all in with clearer skin thanks to Skyrizi. Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy.
Teaching music is my passion, but my active psoriatic arthritis can limit me at times. Now I'm treating my joint symptoms with Skyrizi.
With Skyrizi, most people with plaque psoriasis saw 90% clearer skin at 4 months.
Or if you are an adult with active psoriatic arthritis, Skyrizi helps you move with less joint pain, stiffness, swelling, and fatigue. Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines.
There's nothing like clearer skin.
There's nothing like better movement, and that means everything. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi. Visit Skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKY-RIZI to learn more.
The Dave Glover Show.
If you sit down with me and we talk about who I am, what I am, my values, political, voting record, you're never going to walk away and go, that guy's a bleeding heart progressive. I'm just not stupid. And I just don't take bait. And I just don't do things because you tell me to, or that I'm afraid that if I don't, fall in line or get on the bandwagon, people aren't going to like me. Been there, done that for years.
The Dave Glover Show, now on FM 104.1 FM KMOX.
It is 7:30, and right now we've got sunshine, 72 degrees in downtown St. Louis. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. Roger Brand watching that backup on 55 overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Yeah, and some good news there, Tom. I mentioned in the last report that they had at least one vehicle moved over to the shoulder. It looks like they got them all moved over the shoulder now, so the lanes are open. Northbound 55 is busy in the right lanes, Butler Hill up to 270. We're still jammed from Rivas up through about Weber, and then there's a little pocket, Loughborough up to Virginia. But again, they do have the lanes open across River to Paris, so that's good news. Northbound 270 as you ramp on from 55 is bogged down up through Gravois, Big Bend up through Manchester. After that, you're in the clear. Southbound 61 busy from Highway P down onto 64. 94 to Research Park is a little heavy, but after that, it looks great. Eastbound 70 approaching 64 from Highway Z. Again, a little crowded, but after that, a good run across the Blanchette. Still have the delays downtown. A jam, actually. Northbound Route 3 from, it's almost Jerome now, up to Monsanto. And southbound Route 3 is almost jammed back to the Poplar train crossing there. Westbound 64, Ball Avenue to 3rd Street is slow. And, of course, the emergency repair work. Westbound 64 west of Route 4 has a backup coming through Route 4 because of that. And that'll be out there till tomorrow afternoon at about 3:30. Next update at 7:40 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
It's going to be a sunny day today, hot and humid with a high of 92, but it's going to feel like the upper 90s. Tomorrow is going to be 95. It's going to feel closer to 100, but an afternoon or evening thunderstorm in spots tomorrow, and then maybe some heavy thunderstorms on Saturday. Right now, it is 72 degrees.
We've told you about the concerns with merging several tornado-affected schools in the city. As Michael Calhoun reports, school board members aren't sure how to proceed.
It's really dangerous here. And I'm very serious.
Longtime board member Donna Jones echoes what's already been said by the teachers union that putting rival middle and high school student bodies together is a recipe for disaster.
It's all over the city. I can see it in the kids' faces. They're wearing masks. They go to these middle schools. They go to high school. They're carrying guns. They're doing everything they can. They're in survival mode.
Superintendent Millicent Borashani responds to allegations she's taken a back seat on the issue. She says union leaders at past meetings have yelled and cursed at her.
And the truth is being told because my initial meeting was very disrespectful.
Board President Karen Collins-Adams is asking the administration and the union to come up with an alternate plan by Friday. Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
The funeral service for St. Louis City firefighter Lee Krause was held yesterday. Krause suffered a medical emergency and passed away while on duty last week. Here's Fire Chief Dennis Jenkerson.
I'm here today not only to mourn the passing of firefighter Lee Krause, but rather I'm asking for your prayers and thoughts to help me celebrate his life and commitment to the citizens of the city of St. Louis that he served so courageously as a firefighter.
Krause served 30 years with the city fire department and is survived by his daughter, Cameron.
The Save-A-Lot in Overland is now Save-A-Lot y Más. It's a new concept to serve a Latino customer base, offering fresh Hispanic produce, specialty meats, and culturally relevant bakery items. A grand opening carnival was held yesterday at the store on Midland Boulevard. The Save-A-Lot y Más concept has 2 other locations in Colorado where Levers is based. The grocery Save-A-Lot is teaming up with in this test and learn format. Levers COO John Kuntz says these stores will bring insights about how best to serve this growing customer base.
The news is sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet. The flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com, will get you a look at your money report with Bloomberg coming up next. It's 7:34.
Hey, it's Matt, your leaf filter trusted pro. Gutters are an often neglected part of the home. They're also one of the most important. Clogged, overflowing gutters can cause serious problems like foundation damage or basement flooding, which can cost thousands of dollars to fix. Let's face it, cleaning gutters yourself is not only a hassle, it can be dangerous. But when you get Leaf Filter, you'll never have to worry about cleaning clogged gutters again. Get started today by visiting leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free inspection. If you decide to move forward, we'll professionally clean, realign, and seal your gutters before installing our patented stainless steel micro mesh system. Leaf Filter keeps out everything but the water. And it's backed by a lifetime transferable no clogs warranty. So you're protected for good. We're in your neighborhood and ready to help. Visit Leaf Filter today for a free inspection and estimate, and you could save up to 30%. Visit leaffilter.com/deal. That's leaffilter.com/deal.
$7:35, your money report is sponsored by Busey Bank.
Good morning. Delta Airlines issues a new profit target for this year after pulling the goal 3 months ago. CEO Ed Bastian said that travel in the U.S. is climbing back after approval of the president's tax cut and spending package and progress in tariff discussions. Delta is the first major U.S. carrier to report quarterly results, and the report points to a greater sense of confidence in the rest of the year. When Meta Platforms recently poached former Apple engineer Ruoming Pang, the company shelled out millions. Sources tell Bloomberg Meta made unusually high compensation offers to new members of its superintelligence team, including a more than $200 million package for Pang. And you might start to see a bigger focus on running shoes when you're shopping. German sneaker makers Puma and Adidas are trying to get back on track, so they're focusing more on running, hoping that it will add growth before U.S. tariffs start to take a bite. The company's lost market share to newer upstarts and rivals like Decker's outdoor-owned Hoka and On Holding. Puma has seen its shares fall close to 50% through the year, while Adidas is down 10%. With your Bloomberg Money Report, I'm Kimberly Adams on the Voice of St. Louis, 104.1 FM KMOX.
Life doesn't stand still, and neither do your goals. At Busey Bank, we're here to help you move forward with the financial tools, local support, and expert guidance you need to take your next step. Whether you're growing a business, leaving a legacy, or saving for the future, you'll have a team that's ready when you are. Busey Bank. Building business, growing wealth since 1868. Member FDIC.
Injury law. So as you know, I'm a lawyer, haven't practiced in a long time, but I did plaintiff's work and defense work, so I have a pretty good understanding of it. I have a pretty good idea of who's who in the firmament of plaintiffs' attorneys. And for my money, Mark Cantor is the guy. He's a great attorney. He is a great practitioner. He's put together a great team. He was born and raised here. He lives here. He works here. He wins here. Call 314-628-ALL-9s or CantorInjuryLaw.com. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based on advertising.
If you're drowning in IRS debt and can't afford to pay, then you need to take advantage of special IRS tax programs that are available and free yourself from IRS collection efforts once and for all. Due to the financial hardship consumers are facing throughout the country, the Internal Revenue Service has made it easier to settle delinquent tax problems. problems. An open phone line has been established by Community Tax for consumers to call and see if they qualify. Take down this number or store it in your cell phone, but call the Community Tax Helpline at 800-536-9607. If you owe back taxes to the IRS and cannot afford to pay them back, or even if you have years of unfiled tax returns, there's no need to fear anymore. But you have to call the Community Tax Helpline today at 800-536-9607 for the help that you need. Don't take on the IRS alone. They can attack your wages, savings, pension, home, and even your Social Security check. Call 800-536-9607 for your free consultation and to see if you qualify. That's 800-536-9607.
Today, the Cards, the Nationals. Cameron Total Access 550. Cardinals Radio. 104.1 FM KMOX.
It is 7:38. St. Louis University researchers are looking for volunteers to help them study the safety of a new vaccine for yellow fever, a potentially deadly tropical disease spread by mosquitoes.
The current yellow fever vaccine is not safe in people with egg allergies. This new one is made without using eggs or animal products. SLU is enrolling up to 70 adult volunteers to study the safety of the new vaccine. Yellow fever vaccination is required for travelers and military personnel going to certain African and South American countries where the yellow fever virus is present. Fred Bottomer, KMOX News.
CBS News correspondent Michael George reports on how being lonely can harm your health.
Loneliness doesn't just impact your mental health, but your physical health as well. A study by Howard University looked at data on nearly 50,000 people in the U.S. and found people who reported always feeling lonely had 5 more days of poor physical health per month than people who said they were never lonely. Lonely people also had a 40% higher rate of depression.
Is your focus really on saving? I'm Mark Hamrick with a Bankrate.com Personal Finance Minute. I've heard it so often. Look at how much money one can save by buying this. Wait, how does that work? One is saving money by handing it to someone else. Let's dig deeper. First of all, it's hard to come up with a scenario where greater spending actually leads to more savings. Ultimately, one path for that could be if one were selling one's purchases at a profit, but that's what happens in business, not with consumers. So whether it's a sale, the holiday shopping season, or checking out items at a deep price discounter, let's try to remain focused on the difference between truly saving money and spending. If something costs you $50 and it was marked down from $100, that's fine, but that's not the same as pocketing the $50 quote-unquote saved. It doesn't automatically flow into your emergency savings or retirement account. It's all on finding the proper balance after all. Good luck. For more, check out Bankrate.com. I'm Mark Hamrick.
It's 7:40. Let's check in with Roger Brand again, Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Tom, this traffic report's a service of Mammoth Live Productions. If you're traveling northbound on 55, you've got traffic heavy and slow in the right lanes, Butler Hill up to 270, and it bogs down again approaching Revis Barracks up through Union Road, jams north of Union Road up to River to Pear due to the crash we had just north of there earlier. They've cleared it. North 270, like I said, as you ramp on for 55, is slow up through Gravois most of the way to 44, then Big Bend up to Manchester, Clayton Road up to Ladue, South 270, a little busy at Dorset, and then south of Oliveville, Ladue is slow. Southbound 61 south of P down through Winslow Parkway busy. Eastbound 64 approaching Winghaven midway into K, 94 through Research Park through Clarkson, right around the Interbelt's busy. Westbound 64 Clayton Skinker to Big Bend, there's a slower run through there. And downtown, westbound 64 a little heavy on the Poplar, and westbound 64 delays both sides of Route 4 due to the emergency repair work, and northbound Route 3 jam Jerome up to Monsanto way at a train crossing. Next update is 7:50 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
This report is brought to you by the Beach Boys at Chesterfield Amphitheater, September 21st. America's favorite band, the Beach Boys, are coming to Chesterfield Amphitheater. One night only. September 21st. Experience decades of iconic hits live in concert. Don't miss your chance to see the Beach Boys. Tickets on sale Friday at 10 a.m. at Ticketmaster.com.
7:41. We've got some bright sunshine in downtown St. Louis, maybe a few clouds, but it's going to get rainy as we head into the weekend. Let's get the full forecast from our AccuWeather meteorologist, Joe Lundberg.
The next couple of days are going to be pretty quiet across the air, just escalating heat. We stayed in the upper 80s yesterday with the clouds giving way to sunshine today. A lot of sunshine pretty much out of the gate, and that's going to send us up to a high of 92. Then tonight, mainly clear down to 75. Sun will mix with clouds tomorrow, even hotter up to 95 with the real feels around 100, but a slight chance of an afternoon thunderstorm. That chance grows throughout the course of the weekend as the front moves into the area later Saturday. Clouds will limit sunshine upper 80s to near 90. A couple of heavy thunderstorms are likely, especially later in the day tonight, and they can produce downpours, hail, and damaging winds. And they're probably going to linger into at least a part of Sunday before clearing off to our south and east. Clouds break for some sun. We'll get into the upper 80s. Partly sunny on Monday. Slight chance of a thunderstorm and a high of 90. 73 in St. Peter, 75 in Florissant. You mentioned that sunshine. Warmed it up to 77 downtown at the Arch. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It's 7:43. Has St. Louis Sheriff Alfred Montgomery been removed from office?
No, as Judge Steve Omer denied Attorney General Andrew Bailey's motion to remove Montgomery pending adjudication. Montgomery's team then released the birth certificates of him and the man the Attorney General claims is Montgomery's half-brother and was unconstitutionally hired as a deputy. The birth certificate for the alleged half-brother lists no father, which Montgomery's attorney David Mason says proves Bailey has no evidence. I asked him if he's confident the birth certificate is the only thing the attorney general has.
Yes, I can't imagine what there could be.
Montgomery's team also denies the detaining of the deputy commissioner of the jail was improper, along with the deputy using a department vehicle to transport Montgomery's children. The trial is set for November 10th. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
An aging shopping center in Chesterfield that Maryville University once eyed for its esports arena and dorms will get a new life instead as a mixed-use luxury condo development. The Woods Mill Center on South Outer 40 is being torn down. McBride Homes is developing the housing at Woods Mill Crossing, expected to be 14 buildings with 8 units each and underground parking. A lake, green spaces, and walking trails are also part of the plan. According to the Business Journal, there will also be a large multi-tenant building that will include a restaurant and patio.
Video game performers have approved a contract.
Welcome to the Guild.
Unionized video game performers have overwhelmingly voted to approve a new contract with their employers, ending an almost year-long strike against several major game makers. The new contract delivers pay raises, control over performers' likenesses, and artificial intelligence protections. A tentative agreement was first reached in early June between the union and an industry bargaining group consisting of several major video game companies, including Activision, Disney, and Electronic Arts.
Excuse me?
Jennifer Kuiper, CBS News.
I'm Tom Ackerman. Let's start with some good news, shall we? J.J. Weatherholt is making moves. First game at AAA Memphis, he did this.
Top overall prospect appear for Memphis at AutoZone Park since when Walker was number 4. As that one's hit deep towards center field. That ball is gone. In his first game at AAA, J.J. Weatherholt homers to center field. 424 feet dead center. He has a triple and a homer.
That one was blasted. The middle infield prospect, the number 1 prospect in the Cardinals organization, the number 7 overall pick in the MLB draft last year, is making moves already. First day at AAA Memphis, a triple and a home run in his first game. Memphis got swept in a doubleheader by Charlotte. Meanwhile, in St. Louis, James Wood performing here. He plays for the Washington Nationals, and he is awfully good. In fact, you have Weatherholt in the Futures game this weekend. In the Home Run Derby on Monday will be Wood, and here's why. He hits it a long way.
He's their left fielder. And he hits that ball a ton to deep right center field, and that is long gone. Into the bleachers. I'm not sure where that came down. 24th home run of the year for Wood. And the Nats tack on another. It's 8-1 Nationals.
Cardinals lost the game 8-2 to the Nationals. 7 runs allowed before that by Andre Palante. He got roughed up. Here he is saying that the moves that he can make to get better aren't that complicated.
Just cleaning up the controllable mistakes. You know, the really controllable mistakes were in the first, the home run to Rosario. You know, other than that, and then, you know, I think it was like a couple balls at 66 miles an hour, 67 miles an hour, being pretty costly hits.
Cardinals need to figure out this rotation, though. They've had some troubles here recently, and Miles Michaelis is pitching tonight. The Cardinals starter gave up 6 home runs on Friday at Wrigley Field. 6:45 first pitch tonight. Cards and Nats. Cardinals 5.5 games out in the National League Central as the Cubs lost their second consecutive game, but the Brewers won, beating the Dodgers 3-2 in 10 innings, and they're only a game and a half out now in the National League Central. Keeping an eye on Wimbledon right now, seeing what is going on there. Arina Sabalenka, the number 1 player in the world, is starting her match in the semifinals as they get closer to the end of Wimbledon, one of the great tournaments in sports. On the men's side, Novak Djokovic is more than a decade older than any other man in the semis. He says it motivates him. He's 38 years old, trying to win his 8th Wimbledon title to tie one record and his 25th Grand Slam trophy overall to break another. He faces number 1 Jannik Sinner on Friday for a berth in the final. The other semifinal at the All England Club will be number 2 Carlos Alcaraz against number 5 Taylor Fritz. Alcaraz is 22, Sinner is 23, Fritz is 27, and Djokovic is 38. Innsbruck sponsors sports. Ins and Outs sponsored by Innsbruck Resort, where every day is the weekend. Love talking about Innsbruck. Let me tell you a little bit about Innsbruck. It is a peaceful place, first of all. A retreat, if you will, a vacation right here in the St. Louis area, whether it's a weekend getaway or a permanent residence even. You can find your sanctuary at Innsbruck, innsbruck-resort.com. World-class golf, unforgettable weddings and events, delicious dining options, unique shopping. Innsbruck has all of that. Some of the great things about it, that public golf course, 18 holes set in Missouri's rolling hills of eastern Missouri, dramatic elevation changes, scenic views. It's a great golf course. They have stables at Innsbruck. Top care with indoor and outdoor arenas, 60-foot round pen, trail obstacles, direct trail access. And they have nature trails as well. 7 beautiful trails at Innsbruck where you can hike and really enjoy this peaceful surroundings. 7,500 acres, 100 lakes, innsbruck-resort.com.
Hi, I'm Andrew Suntrup. For over 30 years, St. Louis and St. Charles families have trusted Suntrup Buick GMC. As a proud family-owned dealership, we offer more than just great deals. We offer peace of mind. At Suntrup Buick GMC, you'll always find a huge selection of inventory to choose from, unmatched customer service, and every vehicle comes with our exclusive lifetime powertrain protection program. Visit in store or online at suntrupbuickgmc.com. Save more at Suntrup Buick GMC.
It doesn't take a lot to make a big difference.
That's why we've teamed up with Jerry Kelly Heating and Cooling to bring you 100 acts of kindness.
For the next 6 months, the Chris and Amy Show is challenging you to spread kindness in simple, meaningful ways. No big budget needed.
Write a thank you note, help a neighbor, surprise someone with a smile. It all counts.
Let's prove that kindness is contagious. Share your acts with us by using hashtag 100KindActs.
Because a little kindness goes a long way.
Now the news at 1 the fun. It's the Dave Glover Show on 104.1 FM KMOX.
7:50 and time to take a look at the roadways. Some of you may have been stuck in traffic this morning. Sorry about that. Let's see if we can get an update here from Roger Brand and the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
There's still a lot of slow traffic out there, Debbie, like northbound 55. You're bogged down in the right lanes, Butler Hill to 270. All lanes back up, approaching Revis Barracks, jammed up to about Weber Road, and then it remains slow even past that point to Virginia. There are slow pockets northbound 270, north of 55 up through 44, a little backup just past Big Bend, and then Doherty Ferry to Manchester slow, and approaching Clayton Road up to Ladue is busy. South 270, approaching Page down to Ladue, that's heavy the whole way through. Southbound 61, a backup at Highway P, just briefly, but then it's just kind of slow in spots. Down past Wentzville Parkway, a little busy at Lake St. Louis Boulevard at Winghaven, 94 to Research Park through the Chesterfield Parkways, and finally again from the Interbelt to Big Bend, South 170, a couple of slowdowns. South of Olive to 64, westbound 64, Science Center to Hanley, that's heavier. Eastbound Highway 70, a pretty good run there. Just slow 94 to 5th Street and a little busy. Lindbergh through Cypress downtown. Westbound 64, 3rd Street to the Poplars busy. And, of course, you have the roadwork delays both sides of Route 4 on westbound 64. Northbound Route 3, still a jam, a little bit better, but Judith up through to pretty much all the way up to the bridges backed up. Next update at 7:58 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Weather forecast from Joe Lundberg. Roger, hot and humid as you'd expect here in July in St. Louis. We're looking at a high of 92 today with AccuWeather real field temperatures in the upper 90s. Mainly clear, warm, and humid tonight, low 75. Tomorrow, sun mixing with clouds, even hotter, high 95. Real feels near 100. Afternoon and evening thunderstorm in spots for Friday. Currently, it's 76 in Florissant, 75 in St. Peters. It's mostly sunny and 75 downtown at the Arch.
It is 7:52. The news continues. They promise to help wannabe writers get their book written, published, and marketed, but do they come through? Sarah Wetzel with the Better Business Bureau is warning people about a Palmyra company that goes by a number of different names: Great Writers Media, Cornerstone Literary Services, Book Builder Studio, and Writer's Nest Enterprise.
Unfortunately, when Better Business Bureau reached out to this company and to the owner, we received no response. We know that there were 10 complaints and 2 of them were not responded to, so we don't know exactly the story. But whenever we see a pattern of complaints like this over a short period of time, we at the Better Business Bureau just want to let consumers know what other consumers are reporting to us.
She says the companies have a number of negative reviews as well. Consumers calling the BBB have spent thousands of dollars with the company.
We often think about the late Jack Buck, our legendary sports director and Cardinals broadcaster, and Joe Buck does too. He recently shared some stories with host Dan Patrick on The Dan Patrick Show. Let's take a listen.
You crushed me when your father was dying, and you used to go to the hospital, I believe, and read to your father.
Yeah.
What were you reading to your dad when he was dying?
Basically the sports page. I wasn't reading poetry. He was at a time in his life before he got sick, right before he got sick, where he was writing a lot of it. And one of the results of that was the poem that he read at Busch Stadium after 9/11. So he was always in this mode at the end of his life. He was a Depression-era kid. He was a World War II vet who got shot in Germany. He was in Paris when the war ended and saw de Gaulle speak. I mean, he lived a life. And at the end of his life, I think he knew the end was coming. He was very retrospective. He was writing a lot of poetry. He was watching a lot of war documentaries. And he was just kind of, it wasn't the sports Jack Buck anymore. It was, so I would read the sports page. I would read, little excerpts out of a book that he was reading before he went into the hospital. But he was at the point where he was incapacitated. He had a trach, so he couldn't really talk. I mean, it was Shakespearean. It was this guy with his great voice, great mind. His mind was there to the end, but he couldn't speak. And he had to mouth everything to me. And so going there every day, I would try to find off times because I have 7 brothers and sisters, 1 full, 6 half, and everybody was coming in different shifts. But I tried to find all the off times because I just wanted it to be the 2 of us. And, I've told the story a million times, and I'm not going to drone on about, saying my goodbyes to him the night before he died, when I knew they were going to pull all the equipment and all the respirator and everything out of him. But I did a Cardinal game that night, and I was driving by the hospital, and, he hadn't passed away yet. And my family had all left. And I went up to see him and said a couple things in his ear and kissed him goodbye. And he had passed away before I got to the car. And so they had pulled the TV down by his head when I was doing it. It was a Cardinals-Angels game, and Darryl Kyle was going to die that same week. Mike Scioscia was amazing, pushing a game back. It was a crazy time. But he was listening to me doing the game, and I think he was waiting for me to come say goodbye. At least my narcissistic life thinks that. And maybe if I'd never gone, he'd still be alive today, 23 years later. But I did. I went and I said goodbye.
Media. Social media. They're gonna
you sure? Why would you go there?
Killer.
You killed him. Killer. You killed your father. Unbelievable.
Wow, that got sentimental and dark in a hurry.
Yeah, but he would love that. That was his sense of humor. The best thing I had with my dad was that I could make him laugh, even when I was a little kid. So he could take me on the road, and he was a tough audience, but I got through to him. And some of it was really dark, but he wanted me around. And that's what set up the rest of my life, by just being there with him on the road, seeing the life just from the eyes of a broadcaster and getting a master's class in it really every night.
Wow, that is something right there. Joe's funny. The way he turned that thing. Jack Buck is about to enter the national spotlight with the movie On Fire, which you were able to screen here recently. So I'm looking forward to a review from you.
The book is on fire, and then the movie is Soul on Fire.
Oh, the movie is Soul on Fire.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, and William H. Macy playing Jack Buck in that movie, which is really interesting. Yeah, I basically cried from John O'Leary saying hello, thanks for coming to the screening, and I began to weep through then through the entire thing.
7:57.
Charlie Brennan once again with Dr. Colleen Bosler at the Audiology Center. Dr. Bosler, is it possible we might say, oh, those kids are mumbling, when the problem really is our own inability to hear?
Exactly. Hearing is integral in everything that we do. It keeps us involved and embraced in life. Not hearing someone is never normal. Ringing in the ears is never normal. And when people have a hearing loss, oftentimes they complain that they can hear, but they cannot understand people. And avoiding getting a hearing aid can have long-term effects on the speech reception area of the brain. So what that means is if you test and treat the hearing loss early with a hearing aid, we can prevent a decline in the speech understanding that can happen if the hearing loss goes untreated.
The words of Dr. Colleen Bosler at the Audiology Center. 3 locations in St. Louis, 636-441-7470, the Audiology Center, STL.com.
If you're drowning in IRS debt and can't afford to pay, then you need to take advantage of special IRS tax programs that are available and free yourself from IRS collection efforts once and for all. Due to the financial hardship consumers are facing throughout the country, the Internal Revenue Service has made it easier to settle delinquent tax problems. An open phone line has been established by Community Tax for consumers to call and see if they qualify. Take down this number or store it in your cell phone, but call the Community Tax Helpline at 800-536-9607. If you owe back taxes to the IRS and cannot afford to pay them back, or even if you have years of unfiled tax returns, there's no need to fear anymore. But you have to call the Community Tax Helpline today at 800-536-9607 for the help that you need. Don't take on the IRS alone. They can attack your wages, savings, pension, home, and even your Social Security check. Call 800-536-9607 for your free consultation and to see if you qualify. That's 800-536-9607.
Dive into adventure this summer at the St. Louis Aquarium's Summer of the Shark. Get face to fin with some of the ocean's most awe-inspiring creatures in shark-themed exhibits, jaw-dropping displays, and interactive experiences for the whole family. Whether you're a fin-tastic fan or just curious, there's hands-on fun and fascinating facts around every corner at the St. Louis Aquarium. Don't miss your chance to make a splash. Plan your visit today at stlouisunionstation.com. That's stlouisunionstation.com.
Well, we still got backed up traffic on northbound 55, a jam from Rivas Barracks up to about Weber. After that, it remains slow up to Virginia. Next update at 8:10 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Winner of 4 Edward R. Murrow Awards, including Overall Excellence. KMOX AM St. Louis, KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Progressive Insurance.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. Prayers answered in Los Angeles after a sanitation tunnel under construction partially collapsed. Mayor Karen Bass.
When we raced down here, I was so concerned that we were going to find tragedy. Instead, what we found was victory. All of the men that were in that tunnel rescued up safe.
Officials say 27 of them were trapped below the surface. Another 4 went down to help bring them out. Aerial footage shows the workers inside a metal compartment as it was hoisted by a crane. The cause of the collapse is under investigation. The death toll in Texas' catastrophic July 4th flash flooding has climbed to at least 120. More than 170 people are still unaccounted for. CBS's Karen Hua is in Kerr County.
We're on day 7 of search efforts, and while officials have not come out directly and called this a recovery mission, we do know that hope is waning as the days go on. The last known survivor was found on Friday, the 4th of July, 7 days ago. So we don't, of course, want to jump to any conclusions. We know anything can happen.
Governor Abbott has ordered state flags to fly at half-staff in victims' honor. A federal judge in New Hampshire is hearing arguments right now on a lawsuit challenging President Trump's executive order ending birthright citizenship. CBS News legal analyst Thane Rosenbaum.
In her dissenting opinion in last week's Supreme Court decision lifting nationwide injunctions, Justice Sonia Sotomayor wrote that the remedy for mothers soon to give birth to children is to join a class action lawsuit, which would essentially accomplish the same thing as a nationwide injunction.
Ford has issued a recall of hundreds of thousands of cars and trucks because of a problem that could make engines stall. WWJ's Jeff Gilbert.
Ford has had 6 complaints of fuel pumps failing in certain models of the F-150 pickup, Mustang, and Lincoln Aviator. That can lead to a number of problems, from rough running to an outright engine failure. At this point, the company is still working on a remedy.
Job action over for video game performers. CBS's Jennifer Kuiper has details.
Welcome to the Guild.
Unionized video game performers have overwhelmingly voted to approve a new contract with their employers, ending an almost year-long strike against several major game makers. The new contract delivers pay raises, control over performers' likenesses, and artificial intelligence protections.
Dow futures are down 83. S&P futures off 6. This is CBS News.
Sponsored by Progressive Insurance. We offer auto, home, and commercial auto insurance, plus a variety of business insurance options. Visit progressive.com today.
At 8:03, we have sunny skies, 77 degrees downtown at the Arch. Today is Thursday, July 10th. I'm Megan Lynch. Anger continues to boil at St. Louis Public Schools over concerns about violence among tornado-affected students when school begins next month. KMOX's Michael Calhoun has the latest back and forth.
I just have to say I'm pretty disappointed.
That's longtime board member Donna Jones reacting to union allegations that district administrators are not listening to their fears that merged middle and high school student bodies are rivals and have a history of violence.
I mean, it's different when I know you're from Chicago. She's from Seattle. It's different here in St. Louis. It's not the same. Children are not the same. And I'm very worried. I'm very worried about mixing kids together.
Superintendent Millicent Borashani explains why she didn't attend a meeting this week between administrators and the union to try to come up with a solution.
It becomes extremely difficult to hear people when they are cursing at you. It becomes extremely difficult when people are yelling at you.
The school board president is asking both sides to come up with an alternative plan by Friday because preps for the new school year have to start soon. Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
The deal to sell the Millennium Hotel is complete.
The Gateway Arch Park Foundation celebrated the completion of their purchase of the long vacant building. Executive Director Ryan McClure says they are awaiting approval of their remediation plan. After that, the demolition will begin, but won't be quick.
It will take about 1.5 to 2 years just to clear the site, but we need a lot of approvals before we can get to that point.
McClure says there is a lot of mold and asbestos that needs to be safely removed. The $670 million redevelopment plan calls for turning the land into 1.6 million square feet of mixed-use space amongst multiple buildings. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
Members of the St. Louis Board of Education voted unanimously Wednesday to oppose the Millennium Hotel plan. They're not against the redevelopment, but say the 90% property tax abatement for 20 years is excessive. Board member Brian Marston.
To me, a 20-year, 90% tax abatement is too long and too high. And it looks to me like building rich people stuff downtown on the backs of SLPS students.
Board President Karen Collins Adams says developers claim to want to rebuild the city, then demand tax breaks, which hurt city services. More charges have been filed in the July 4th shooting death of a 17-year-old bystander in Alton. Police say 20-year-old Tamra Ballinger of Alton faces 2 counts of first-degree murder and aggravated discharge of a gun. 44-year-old Brashonda Colley of Alton was charged Wednesday with obstructing justice. 18-year-old Joshua Glenn Colley of Alton had already been charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder and a couple of gun-related counts. Alton Police Chief Jarrett Ford says the new charges reflect the unwavering dedication of law enforcement and a commitment to bring justice for the victim. Colleagues of longtime St. Louis City firefighter Lee Krause paid their respects Wednesday morning. Krause passed away last week in the line of duty after a medical emergency.
He didn't have a problem with anyone. If you had a problem with Lee, you were the problem.
In those 27 years, we have gone through just about everything you can imagine. Fires, stair collapses, building collapses, baby deliveries.
He never showed one sign of weakness, never showed one sign of being scared. He was a hard charger. The citizens of St. Louis don't know what they lost. with the passing of Lee Krause.
Richmond Heights police say they arrested a man Wednesday afternoon for allegedly firing a gunshot in the parking lot of the Galleria Mall. They say it appears related to a domestic incident between a man and a woman that began elsewhere. When the woman tried to escape from a car, police say the man restrained her and fired the weapon once near her feet. In Texas, rescue workers continue to search for the more than 170 people who remain missing following deadly weekend flash floods. Search teams were at Camp Mystic Wednesday. 5 campers still missing. So how do you talk to your own kids about what's happened there? Dr. Erica Rutledge is a licensed psychologist with SSM Health, Cardinal Glennon Children's Hospital. It's possible it's not something that's really affecting them, but if you know they are thinking about it, see if they have any questions.
But try not to give too much information and let them lead with maybe information they know. And I would say this is more for adolescents and teens versus younger children, because they just may not have awareness, and the way that they may be processing it may be different based on their developmental stage.
An aging shopping center in Chesterfield that Maryville University once eyed for its esports arena and dorms will get a new life as a mixed-use luxury condo development. The Woods Mill Center on South Outer 40 currently being torn down. McBride Homes developing the housing at Woods Mill Crossing, expected to be 14 buildings and 8 units each, and underground parking, a lake, green spaces, and walking trails are also part of the plan. According to the Business Journal, there will also be a large multi-tenant building that will include a restaurant and patio. We'll check traffic and weather in 2 minutes. It's 8:08.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 40-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term life insurance may only cost you about $100 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-352-9239. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-352-9239. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-352-9239. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. For affordable term life insurance, call 800-352-9239, 800-352-9239, or biglou.com.
Ready for instant curb appeal that comes with a 25-year transferable warranty? Call Rhino Shield today. We do brick, block, stucco, asbestos, aluminum, steel, cedar, and more. Over the past 20 years, we've done thousands of homes, businesses, churches, schools, condos, parking garages, large metal buildings, and strip malls, from Champaign to the Lake of the Ozarks. We do flat and sloped metal roofs to extend their lives too. Proud to be veteran-owned and manufactured in the good old USA, so we're tariff-free. We're exceeding expectations every day. Evaluations are free. A+ rated with the BBB and a lot of 5-star Google reviews. Call 877-25-RHINO, 877-25-RHINO, or 877-25rhino.com. See what we did there? Genius. Tell them, ladies.
Don't paint, don't Rhino, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts. Total Information AM. The news continues on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It's 8:10 coming up on Total Information AM. We're going to tell you how the race for Illinois' 15th Congressional District is already heating up. First, though, let's check the roads and your ride into work this morning with Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Megan, we still have heavy traffic on northbound 55. Not as bad. It's backed up briefly Union Road to Bayless, and then it's slow from there up to about Virginia. Tesson Ferry at Concord School Road, there's an injury crash, a little bit of a backup both directions there. Northbound 270, both sides of Gravois sort of bogged down. Big Bend all the way up to Ladue is busy. Southbound 270, Page or 364 down to Ladue is slow. Southbound 61 is cleared out. Eastbound 64 looks great until you're getting through the Chesterfield Parkways. It's pretty busy, and then approaching McKnight to Big Bend. Westbound 64, Clayton Skinker through that Big Bend area is slow. Eastbound 70, a good run out of St. Charles County, just kind of busy. 270 into the Rock Road. Downtown, we have delays. Westbound 64, of course, bogged down both sides of Route 4 due to the emergency road work going on, and then approaching Route 3 to the Poplars backed up. Next update at 8:20 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
KMOX AccuWeather, mostly sunny today, becoming hot and humid, the high 92 with AccuWeather real field temperatures in the upper 90s. Mainly clear, warm, but humid tonight, the low 75. For tomorrow, sun mixing with clouds, hot and humid. An afternoon and evening thunderstorm in the area, high 95. Real feels near 100. For Saturday, more clouds and sun, breezy, not as warm, but still humid. A couple of heavy thunderstorms in the afternoon. They can produce downpours, hail, and damaging winds. The high Saturday, 87. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Sunny skies now, 77 degrees downtown at the Arch. This is Total Information AM on KMOX. I'm Megan Lynch. The next voice you hear may sound very familiar. Randy Raley was part of the St. Louis radio scene for years, most notably on KSHE 95. He's ready to make a radical change.
I'm retired now, and so I thought at one time that I would sit back and play with the grandkids and the dog and maybe do some swimming and ride the motorcycle and go gardening, but no. I've decided to do something completely different, Megan, and I'm running for Congress for the 15th District of Illinois. And one of the reasons I'm running is because I moved to Highland about 3 years ago, and I had a problem with something, and I don't remember what it was, but I called my my representative in Congress, and then I emailed my representative in Congress, and then I wrote a letter to my representative in Congress, and I never received an answer on any of it.
His representative is incumbent Republican Mary Miller. Raley points out that Miller actually doesn't reside in the district. That district was redrawn, and congressional candidates in Illinois don't actually have to live in the district they represent. Here's more of my conversation with Raley.
She doesn't live in the district. She doesn't work in the district. She doesn't pay taxes in the district. And she's got her big cattle farm over on the eastern side of the state. And so I thought, well, I think this is an opportunity for maybe me to do something in service of my country. My brother did 2 tours of Vietnam, and for a while there, he was deep in the jungles of Vietnam, and he passed away at the age of 45 from Agent Orange poisoning. And so he sacrificed his life for the country. But I'm thinking that this is a calling that I have just for the fact that the 15th district deserves to be represented in Washington, and it is not. The thing of it is, Megan, is it's not a Democrat thing. It's not a Republican thing. It is a being represented thing, and Mary Miller just doesn't represent the district. It's like I call her MIA Mary. We had an opportunity to, one of our communities in my district is needing a water tower. Because theirs is falling apart and it's, not of use anymore. And all Mary had to do was write a letter to release the funds to get the water tower. Now, she didn't do it. And the quote that we heard is that she doesn't believe that federal funds should go to local projects. What? Isn't that her job? To do that, to bring funds into the district, to make the lives of her people who live in the district better? And it just seems the more that I research her, and she's also this national embarrassment. She said and I'm quoting now, Hitler had the right idea. Now, wait a minute. Whatever follows that doesn't have any meaning for it because you've said this. Now, the quote is Hitler had the right idea. He got them while they were young. And it's like, wait a minute. So she's over on the east side with her cattle ranches, and she's looking out for her rich friends. And meanwhile, the rest of the district is suffering because she doesn't pay any attention to it.
So are you running as a Democrat, an independent?
I am running as a Democrat, but again, it's not a Democrat or Republican thing. It's a getting representative thing in Washington. And I'm trying to find a way where we can kind of get rid of all of these labels and just get back to our representative representing the district. And whatever the district needs is something that I will put on my priority list.
So the challenge is it is a Republican district for
One
the
of
most
the reddest in the country.
She was endorsed by Donald Trump.
Sure.
Last election, the Democrats didn't even really field a candidate. They had a write-in candidate who got, less than 300 votes?
Sad.
How are you funding your campaign?
Well, Mary's got millions. As we say, this is going to be a very grassroots campaign. And I am at probably 0.01% of being in the campaign. I'm just getting started. And like I said, I have a great campaign team, but this is going to be done with donations from individuals from the 15th district who feel the same way I do, that they're just not getting what they need from Mary Miller. And so it's going to be a funded campaign, but I think I've got a few ideas how to take it to the people and talk to them directly.
One of the big issues, as you know, in political campaigns is always where that money comes from.
Exactly.
You mentioned that you would really love for it to be grassroots.
Mhm.
Who would you not take money from for this campaign?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't think I would take any, and I know I wouldn't take any money at all from any kind of hate groups. I'm not really going to look to take money from big spending, huge PACs and corporations like that. Now, if there are some small PACs that are in my district that want to meet with me and talk to me about, my view of the district, and they want to donate to my campaign, I'm all about that. But it has to be somebody that I agree with, and somebody where our values are kind of lined up. One of the things that kind of scares me, Megan, is that Mary Miller signed this big bill, and one of the things that the big bill talks about is drilling on federal lands. I can't imagine drilling in the Shawnee National Forest down in southern Illinois. It just boggles my mind. So if somebody like that is like, hey, we've got all of these places in the country to drill, and I don't understand. And I'm not against drilling. I understand that we have to maintain our energy independence, but why there? Why does it have to be on federal lands like that?
One of the big issues for Congresswoman Miller and some of her colleagues has been this issue of defining male and female,
Mm-hmm.
and also, how we handle transgender athletes. Where do you
Mhm.
stand on those issues?
Well, I'm wondering how important that is to the people in my district. I think that there are probably more things that are more important to them. My daughter was in school in suburb St. Louis, went through school, and there was a girl that was in my daughter's class. And, some days that she would dress this way and some days she would dress that way. But you know what our response was? That's just her. I think we're approaching a time where we're trying to be. I have a problem with us picking on people that really can't defend themselves. But my thing is, Megan, how important, if we were to list this on a priority list of people in my district, and I will find out how important this is. And that's one of the things I'm going to be talking about, is that I wonder where it really ranks with people when it comes to good jobs, or when it comes to getting federal money into the district, or when it comes to, the problem, am I going to get kicked off Medicaid? Is my hospital going to close? Where's the next job? I think those are much more important things that are happening.
You mentioned the big, beautiful bill, and Representative Miller did vote to pass that.
Right.
One of the things that she has been touting is that it does eliminate taxes on tips and overtime, something that would be a relief to middle-class workers.
But can we dig a little deeper? Is that really what it says? Now, isn't there a limit on, I believe, $25,000 on tips? And I also believe that, it's not quite what it. I think there's still a lot of misconception about this bill. And before I, really dig into it, I'm going to have to dig into it a little bit. But I think everybody says that over there. Everybody says that, but I'm not quite sure that's exactly what is taken away from it.
No, I'm not trying to be ageist. You mentioned you were retired. Age has become a big political issue, in recent elections.
Sure.
So, do you mind telling everyone your age and, what you feel your longevity would be in this office?
I'm 69 and I'll run 2 terms. So I'll do 2 terms and I'm out. And that is a promise. I'll be 74, 75 when that happens. And quite honestly, we're going to turn it over to somebody who's much more, I really hope that the young people get into politics with their opportunity to change the world.
That's Randy Raley, Democratic candidate for Illinois' 15th Congressional District. I did reach out to Congresswoman Miller's office to talk to her about facing a challenger in the upcoming election, and I have not had a response yet from her office. We've also reached out to another Democrat running for the seat, Jennifer Todd. We anticipate speaking with her sometime next week. Let's get a check now of the roads. Roger Brand is in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Megan, we're doing better, but we still have slow traffic out there. This traffic reports a service of Metro Transit, northbound Highway 55. You still got delays. It's better, but still pockets from Bayless up to about Virginia. North 270 still bogged down from Gravois most of the way up to Ladue in pockets. South 270 Page to Ladue is still busy. Eastbound 64 Annie Guns to about Timberlake. East of Lindbergh to Big Bend is still slow. Southbound 170, you've got traffic slow at the Parkway. Westbound 64 Clayton Skinker to Big Bend, kind of off the pace. Eastbound 70 still a little heavy. 270 into the Rock Road. Downtown on the Illinois side, westbound 64 still has over a mile slowdown both sides of Route 4 due to the emergency repair work going on. Then it's just backed up approaching Route 3 on across the Poplar. Next update at 8:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Mostly sunny, hot and humid today, a high 92. It could feel like it's in the upper 90s, though. Right now, sunny skies, 77 degrees downtown at the Arch.
This report is sponsored by Metro Transit.
We are Metro Transit. We don't just help ourselves and our neighbors get where we need to be. We help our whole region get where we want to be.
Well, we still got heavy traffic on northbound 55 from Bayless up to Virginia.
Hi, Stacy with Fairwinds River's Edge Senior Living in St. Charles. Are you a senior seeking a fun retirement? Do you want less work and more play? Do you want to enjoy great food that you don't have to cook? Then I know. Stop what you're doing right now and call Fairwinds. Set up a time to visit and have a meal. Meet some of our awesome residents. Check us out online at fairwindsriversedge.com. We hope to talk with you soon.
Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated the best hearing aids of 2025 by Forbes Health, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices, starting at just $98 a pair.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aid.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 1 million happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
When you haven't found love, it can feel like everyone else has. It's in every movie, every song, and all the PDA. Looking for love sucks. Thankfully, California Psychics can give you the guidance you need to find the one. We guarantee if your reading isn't life-changing, it's free. And new customers receive 20 minutes for just $20. Visit CaliforniaPsychics.com and experience the joy of certainty. California Psychics.
I'm Megan Lynch. Thanks for joining me this morning for Total Information AM here on KMOX. A new analysis shows managers oversee more workers than before as companies shed middle management. I asked our KMOX business analyst, SLU professor Jerome Katz, about the trend.
We've gotten used to hybrid work conditions where people are sometimes in the office and sometimes away from the office. There are some departments that have moved over to being totally remote. What top managers have figured out is that middle managers can manage a lot more people if they're dealing with folks remotely, because you're literally just getting on Microsoft Teams or Zoom for a couple minutes, and you might have 10 or 15 people on, and that takes care of your supervision for them for several hours.
But Katz says it's also a hard time to be a middle manager.
With the fact that middle management is declining across a broad range of American industries, there are a lot more people who are middle managers who are finding it really hard to get other jobs. And trying to move over to self-employment, if you've been a middle manager, there isn't an obvious path for a lot of industries. So it's a tough financial road for those middle managers who are getting laid off.
And he points out for companies, there's the risk of brain drain.
There is actually a lot of expertise in those people, and that expertise is getting lost to us. We're seeing how that plays out when middle managers in the federal government get let go as the government tries to downsize, and think of how many mistakes have started to pop up. And it's because the people who are there are stretching too far, don't have enough time to do everything, and sometimes we're missing the people who had the expertise, but they got laid off.
Overall, is this obviously helping companies' bottom line?
Yes. Getting rid of these people. Middle managers make solid incomes. That's part of the goal, why it's been so many people's eventual career goal. So yeah, the money is good, but that also means the savings are good. So yes, that's what companies are trying to do. Part of that is there is this enormous push in our society, in our economy, to try and be as profitable as possible because of pressure from stockholders, particularly private equity firms and activist investors. And this kind of succumbing to this pressure is where letting go of middle managers and as many workers as possible comes from.
That's KMOX business analyst Jerome Katz. Still ahead on Total Information AM, we'll take you to an Illinois company that brought its manufacturing back to the United States, and a local dietitian is concerned about what could be in the latest nutrition guidelines under U.S. Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. It's now 8:27. This time check sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
If you're drowning in IRS debt and can't afford to pay, then you need to take advantage of special IRS tax programs that are available and free yourself from IRS collection efforts once and for all. Due to the financial hardship consumers are facing throughout the country, the Internal Revenue Service has made it easier to settle delinquent tax problems. An open phone line has been established by Community Tax for consumers to call and see if they qualify. Take down this number or store it in your cell phone, but call the Community Tax Helpline at 800-536-9607. If you owe back taxes to the IRS and cannot afford to pay them back, or even if you have years of unfiled tax returns, there's no need to fear anymore. But you have to call the Community Tax Helpline today at 800-536-9607 for the help that you need. Don't take on the IRS alone. They can attack your wages, savings, pension, home, and even your Social Security check. Call 800-536-9607 for your free consultation and to see if you qualify. That's 800-536-9607.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. A question I get all the time is, how did we become the largest injury firm in the world? We have over 1,000 lawyers in all 50 states and close to 6,000 coworkers. Our call center is on duty 24/7. You can reach us at any time at forthepeople.com. But the real reason is we won a lot. When you visit our website, go to our verdicts and settlements. There you will see what our clients were offered and what they were awarded at trial. All those verdicts help us resolve many cases fairly and early. You see, nothing beats reputation. The insurance industry knows who we are. We even have insurance adjusters call us for representation because they know too. We've made it easy. On your mobile device or computer, go to forthepeople.com and we will get busy. It's that easy. Call today. Morgan & Morgan, for the people. Injured? Dial #law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
You ask a lot of your liver, so give it the support it needs with Active Liver. Active Liver provides an easy daily detox. Go to NordicuSA.com, Amazon, or ask for Active Liver at your local CVS. New you, new Nordic.
Ready to make lake life a reality? With Anywhere Lombardo at Lake of the Ozarks, you can build a home designed just for you. Whether it's a cozy retreat or a luxurious lakeside escape, our custom designs bring your vision to life, set against stunning lake views and peaceful surroundings. The perfect balance of relaxation and adventure. With a trusted builder backed by long-standing vendor relationships, you'll enjoy cost savings and superior quality from start to finish. Start your dream home today with Anywhere Lombardo. Visit lombardohomes.com to learn more.
Let's see how your morning push is going. Roger Brand is in the overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
No, it's getting better for most folks, Megan. This traffic report's a service of Amazon, but you still have heavy traffic northbound 55. I have a stall reported right around River de Pere. It's still bogged down Bayless up through to about Loughborough. There's still backed up traffic both ways on Tesson Ferry at Concord School. We had a crash there. Northbound 270 still heavy both sides of Gravois. Big Bend all the way to Ladue is still busy. South 270 not as bad. South of Page through Olive. Then it starts picking up the pace. Eastbound 64, a couple of slowdowns at Boone's Crossing and through the Chesterfield Parkways after that. There's a couple of slowdowns again, east of Lindbergh to about Big Bend. South 170 delays at the Parkway. Westbound 64, Clayton Skinker to Big Bend is busy. And then downtown, you've got heavy traffic on the Illinois side, of course, so over a mile delay on the westbound 64, both sides of Route 4, the emergency repair work ongoing till tomorrow afternoon. And then it's slow again west of 3rd Street onto the Poplar. Next update at 8:40 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Brought to you by Amazon.
Get a great deal on a new foot spa, transforming you into the queen of kicking it.
Wait, this has bubble jets. Okay.
Shop great Prime Day deals now.
As you've heard here on KMOX, President Trump turning up the heat in the tariff war. It's part of his push to have more products made in the USA. CBS's Usher Qureshi has more.
This is what they're going to get, is the best floor liner on the planet.
David McNeil, founder of WeatherTech, is serious about manufacturing his products in the United States.
We love having American workers, and we love having our factories right here on American soil.
Nearly 40 years ago, McNeil began importing car floor mats, eventually shifting to designing and manufacturing his products here in suburban Chicago. He now employs more than 1,300 workers who wear patriotism on their sleeves. Last year, the company brought in more than $900 million in revenue.
How do you do that when it's so much cheaper to make things outside of the United States?
It's not about the money. It's about the principle. And the principle is manufacture here. Do the best job you can, harness great American technology and the great American worker.
WeatherTech controls all aspects of its manufacturing supply chain, including domestically sourced petroleum and materials for its molds.
All our tooling is made from either aluminum from America or steel from America.
The Federal Trade Commission requires that products advertised as made in the USA be all or virtually all manufactured domestically, and the ingredients or components must be made and sourced in the United States. Since 2021, the agency has notified 57 companies about improperly using the label. Other companies have faced lawsuits by consumers. Reynolds Aluminum Foil is currently fighting a class action suit claiming it's falsely advertised as made in the USA, even though its main raw material, bauxite, is not mined in the U.S. Reynolds says the claims have no merit, and it will defend the case.
Made in USA can cost more. Frequently it does, and certainly now consumers are fearful that it will. For that reason, it's really important that the phrase is non-deceptive.
Laura Smith is legal director for the consumer watchdog group Truth in Advertising.
This harms not only consumers, but it harms honest businesses trying to compete with companies who are lying to consumers about the origin of their products.
With tariffs putting more attention on where products are coming from and how much they cost, David McNeil says keeping companies honest is more important than ever.
Being deceptive and saying it's made in America when it's not is not fair. And so people should just tell the truth.
Truth in Advertising successfully lobbied the FTC to create new rules in 2021, codifying the all or virtually all standard, which has made it easier to find violators. Usher Qureshi, CBS News, Chicago.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio.
Career changers, including veterans and active duty service members. Your transition starts here. Go from GI to IT in a matter of months. Become a certified cyber warrior with training at My Computer Career. Cybersecurity specialists are in high demand, offering IT pros great opportunities and a rewarding lifestyle while protecting our people, liberty, and treasured institutions from cyber threats. Deploy your career in IT today at mycomputercareer.edu/CWP, an elite CompTIA certification partner.
VA education benefits are available to those who qualify.
8:35 at 104.1 FM KMOX. Time for your money report. Sponsored by Eamon Gatner and Capriano Elder Law Attorneys. Here's Bloomberg's Kimberly Adams.
Good morning. President Donald Trump's threat to impose 50% tariffs on Brazilian goods sent the country's currency plunging as Trump escalated a dispute with Latin America's largest nation. And now, copper traders are looking to shift deliveries into Hawaii and Puerto Rico to cut shipment times. Traders delivering metal into the U.S. before the new levies stand to capture a larger profit. Tween accessories retailer Claire's is said to be considering a potential bankruptcy for its U.S. operations. The chain was once a regular fixture at shopping malls across the country, but has been struggling with weak demand, higher import costs, and a heavy debt load. Claire's Stores is working with a consulting firm trying to shore up funds and is also exploring a potential sale of all or part of its operations. On Wall Street, stocks rallied yesterday. The Nasdaq stood out among the three major benchmarks, with Nvidia becoming the first company in history to reach a $4 trillion milestone. The Dow rose 218, the S&P 500 gained 38, and the Nasdaq jumped 193 points. With your Bloomberg Money Report, I'm Kimberly Adams on the Voice of St. Louis, 104.1 FM KMOX.
This is Tom Ackerman for Gamma Tree Experts, a full-service tree care firm specializing in the preservation of your valuable trees. We have a lot of trees in our yard, and Tim Gamma and Tom Gamma and their outstanding staff make sure that they are well taken care of. In fact, they have now put me in the habit of taking a look at the health of our trees, plants, and shrubs. And if I have any questions, I can reach out to them at 314-725-6159, 314-725-6159, or just go to gammatree.com to learn more. Gamma Tree Experts, they will come right over and give us a full inspection, make sure that we know which trees are in trouble, which trees are doing just great. And if we end up having any storm damage, they will clean that up as well. They are Gamma Tree Experts, here since 1954. gammatree.com. Your trees deserve the best care.
KMOX and 97.1 FM Talk are proud to support the first ever Brendan Donovan Charity Clay Shoot, happening Thursday, August 7th at Straffleman Farms Club in Weldon Spring. Join Cardinal standout Brendan Donovan, teammates, and local celebrities for a day of clay shooting and community, all to benefit Team Red, White, and Blue and their mission to support veterans' health and wellness. Sponsorships and shooter spots are going fast. Visit teamrwb.org/Donovan now to sign up. Show your support and make a difference for those who have served.
We all have someone we love, like the favorite lyric in our favorite song. You can't imagine life without them. So tell them today, I love you. Get screened. It could help save their life. Visit cancer.org/getscreened to learn more.
Sunny skies, 81 degrees at 104.1 FM KMOX. Here's what's happening. Members of the St. Louis Board of Education vote unanimously to oppose the Millennium Hotel Plan, saying the 90% property tax abatement for 20 years is excessive. Elon Musk's artificial intelligence company taking down anti-Semitic comments and other inappropriate posts made by its Grok chatbot, including some praising Adolf Hitler. Coming up, dietitians are worried what the next nutrition guidelines could take away from our plate. We'll have more from a local nutritionist coming up. First, though, we need to check your ride into work. Roger Brand on standby in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, things continue to improve, Megan. This traffic reports the service of Terrace Senior Living of Eureka, northbound 55, has pretty well cleared out coming across River to Pear. That's good news. North 270 still a little slow right through Gravois. There's heavy traffic north of Manchester up to Ladue. South 270, Olive down to Ladue. That's still kind of busy. Eastbound 64, still bogged down, headed out of the valley through the Chesterfield Parkways, east of Lindbergh into Big Bend. There was a minor crash in the area. I think they already cleared it, though. South 170, Ladue to 64, that's still slow. Westbound 64, Clayton Skinker, out through Bellevue. It picks up the pace before you get to Big Bend. Downtown, we're clear across the Poplar. You still have the roadwork delays on westbound 64 from Route 4, about midway into a 158. It opens up a little bit sooner than that, actually. I'm Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Thank you, Roger. And checking that forecast for today, it's going to be a hot and humid day today. We're going to see quite a bit of sunshine, a high 92, and it could feel like it's in the upper 90s. Clear, warm, and humid tonight with a low around 75. And then tomorrow we'll have sun mixing with clouds, another hot and humid day, and a chance of afternoon and evening thunderstorms in spots. Expect a high tomorrow of 95 with real feels near 100. Currently sunny skies, 81 degrees downtown at the Arch.
Check out the Terrace in Eureka for affordable senior living with 24-hour nursing supervision, delicious meals, medication management, and activities. The Terrace is affordable and will work with your Medicaid plan. Go to rspseniorliving.com and look for the Terrace Private Assisted Living.
You're listening to Total Information AM on KMOX. I'm Megan Lynch. It's likely U.S. Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. will be revamping nutrition guidelines. Could it change what's on our plate? We wanted to know what nutrition experts think. So I reached out to Michelle Wilson, registered dietitian with Brands Nutrition in St. Louis and Shiloh, Illinois.
Something that can be a concern whenever we're changing guidelines is what is informing the changes, and how is it going to impact the day-to-day lives of the citizens that are impacted by it. So if you're not making evidence-based changes or citing sources inaccurately, if there are people that are involved that are not registered dietitians, then it can cause data to maybe be skewed or for interpretation of data to might possibly not be accurate. So making sure that whenever we're making changes, maybe we're looking at policies from other countries, seeing what has already been proven to be beneficial in other populations, So there's definitely multiple facets to take into consideration for changes.
When we do look at things like the food pyramid, for example, I think that's the visual that a lot of people have of our nutrition guidelines in this country. Are there things that do need to be changed?
Whenever the food pyramid got changed, it was actually several years ago, and we switched over to My Plate. And then, there's changes of that we try to make it look a little bit more visual, to where, okay, when I'm looking at my plate, that it's segmented in certain ways. There's just interpretation of what that means can be challenging for someone that doesn't have that nutrition background. So, it can be a good start to look at, if I look at my plate, it should be like half of it should be fruits and vegetables, but like, what does that look like for combination foods? So, or maybe like, how does this look whenever we're having difficulty with access to fresh food? So, it's definitely important to be aware of the changes that could be made of implementation and awareness of these programs. So like if we have My Plate, for instance, who's teaching this to kids and like what information are they providing? I've had where I've gone to several middle schools and high schools and talked to them and talked to their health teachers about what information they knew about nutrition. And unfortunately, the people that were providing this information were teachers, and they were just given a little curriculum, but it was being presented in a way that caused a little bit of like black and white thinking with food and caused a little bit of fear around certain foods for some kids, and could even lead to eating disorders. So like, we just need to be intentional about how we're actually portraying the information, and then the access to resources like a dietitian or someone that's educated in nutrition to be providing this information, because a lot of things can be misinterpreted, and even how you apply it to your own individual day-to-day life.
I've seen some nutrition videos online recently that kind of made me scratch my head and have to do some more research myself. Things like oatmeal isn't really good for you, and nut oils aren't the greatest thing. Are you worried that in the current climate, there are healthy things that could be de-emphasized that would actually be a benefit in people's diets?
Yeah, absolutely. So it kind of depends on the trends. We have like a few different competing ideas going on out there. So like if someone is thinking that oats are bad, for instance, they're high in fiber, they're a great carbohydrate source, but maybe someone's demonizing carbs to begin with. Our body gets the majority of its fuel from carbs, and our brain needs glucose to function, but maybe someone's demonizing that and spreading misinformation because they think maybe the carnivore diet is the way to go, right? So we're going to definitely have a lot of demonization of foods whenever we're talking about dieting, especially if it's taking out entire categories of foods. So it depends on who's trying to provide the information and what they're trying to provide information about. But sometimes it's not going to be a registered dietitian, and it's going to demonize foods that otherwise could have been accessible and helped improve people's nutrition.
There's been a lot of focus on ultra processed foods, and people are guessing that some of that is going to be included in this new nutrition guideline that may come down from the US Health Secretary. Is that a good thing actually, if people do focus more on the harmful things that we do take in due to ultra processed foods?
I'm a huge fan of what to add versus what to take away. So whenever I talk to my clients about how to improve their nutrition, I would talk to them about adding things like maybe fruits or vegetables or whole grains, or talking about the accessibility of cooking foods at home. However, the term ultra processed foods, it doesn't have a lot of regulation to it. And I've seen a lot of information that kind of gets clumped together that doesn't seem to make a lot of sense. So with processing food, anything like chopping something up or heating something is considered processing. So yes, an applesauce that is just blended apple is considered a processed food. And then I've seen ultra processed foods, including things that have added sugar. But if you have sugar, that is a single ingredient, that's not a processed food. So I think that this idea of ultra processed foods is something that can be misconstrued and misunderstood, especially by someone who doesn't have training in this. And it can even demonize things that people might only have access to. So in food swamps or food deserts, we have people that only have access to convenience stores for their groceries. And then they might have only ultra processed foods or only foods that are considered to be shelf stable as accessible foods to them. So whenever we are demonizing foods, it might make people feel uncomfortable getting foods that might be limited by what they have access to. So I think that when we're putting labels of like good and bad on food, it can cause more harm than good.
That is Michelle Wilson, registered dietitian with Brandt's Nutrition in St. Louis and Shiloh, Illinois. Well, if you're looking for a cool place to visit this summer, travel writer Bill Cleveland joins me next. He's going to talk about some of Missouri's best natural springs.
Measles milestone. I'm Fred Bottomer with 60 Seconds to Better Health. The number of measles cases in the U.S. has hit a 33-year high. Now, these 1,277 cases so far this year, and it's only July. Fox News senior medical analyst Dr. Mark Siegel.
We have about 93% uptake of this vaccine, the measles, mumps, rubella vaccine in this country right now. We need 95% for what's called herd immunity, where if you can't get the vaccine, you're protected by those around you. This is a wildly contagious virus. It's not the 93% number, though. It's that certain pockets, there's a lower compliance rate. It might be in the 80s. There's a huge outbreak in Europe this year, big increase, and that's because in Europe, the vaccination rate is in the 80s. So that's going way up. Travelers bring it here to the United States, and if you're not vaccinated, and of the cases we've seen here in the U.S., over 1,200, 92% of those are either unvaccinated or we don't know if they are. So it's unvaccinated people that receive it from travelers, and then it seeds here.
With 60 Seconds to Better Health, I'm Fred Bottomer.
Hey, it's Matt Pauley telling you about i3 Broadband. You've heard me talk about them. They provide the internet in my home. I love them so much. The reliability is great. Let's talk about price for a moment, though. They've got an introductory rate at $19.99 a month for one of their service options. No bundle ever required. You're going to save $10 a month over the cable company. They've got great pricing on all of their different packages, going up to 8 gigs upload and download speed, always mirrored. See if they're available in your neighborhood. Put your address in at i3broadband.com.
Experience the magic of the Fabulous Foxes 2025-2026 Broadway season, which includes the return of St. Louis favorite, The Phantom of the Opera, and the spellbinding spectacular Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. And right now, KMOX has your chance to win a pair of season tickets for the 2025-2026 season. Prize package includes a pair of tickets for all 8 shows in the subscription package. Register now online at KMOX.com/contests for your chance to win.
You may not know that there are more than 4,000 natural springs in Missouri where groundwater flows to the surface. And our next guest has picked out some of the best for you to go visit this summer. Travel journalist Bill Cleveland with BillOnTheRoad.com with us now on the line. Bill, thank you so much for joining me this morning.
Hey there. Good morning, Megan. How's it going?
It's going great. Looks like you had a great road trip. I saw some of your pictures of these natural springs in Missouri. And the thing that I can't get over is the color of the water.
Yes. Yeah, no, it's absolutely beautiful. Quick backstory. So I was actually supposed to be in Los Angeles last week and decided to pull the plug on that trip for a handful of different reasons. And then I was like, man, but I want to do something. And so I thought, you know what? I have never taken the trip to southern Missouri to go and see some of these beautiful springs. And I have to give credit to my dad. He actually beat me to a trip for once. He had done some of these before. I thought, okay, let's do it. So went down south, got a little tiny house at a place called Rockin' Bell River Resort in Mountain View, Missouri. And that was kind of my home base for 2.5 days, almost 3 days. And I set out to see as many of these springs as I could. And so you mentioned the blue water. So yes, most of these have this very distinct looking blue water, and that comes from the depth of the springs, but also the minerals in the water. And I think it's mostly limestone, if I'm not mistaken. And so they're really pretty. And they're spread out all over. Now, you mentioned there are thousands, and I've heard anywhere between 4,000 and 6,000 springs across Missouri. And not all of them are easy to get to, but there are enough of them with access that, it can be a really fun road trip. And honestly, I didn't even scratch the surface. Like, I could go back again and again and see more. The one that I think most people listening have heard about, and maybe they don't even realize they've heard about it, is called Alley Spring. And there's the Alley Mill. And it's this beautiful historic mill that was built in the 1800s. It's a really pretty red, and of course it sits along the spring, which of course is that pretty blue color we've been mentioning. And so, it apparently is one of the most photographed spots in the entire state of Missouri. And I've been getting emails from people who are like, "Oh, I remember when that was on, the cover of our phone book back when we were kids." It's everywhere. And so that's a really cool one. Most of these springs, and I went to 8 of them, and I've got them all at billontheroad.com, along with photos and little summaries of how to get there and what you'll see when you get there. But for the most part, Megan, they're pretty easy to get to. Some of them require a little bit of a hike. There was one called Greer Spring, which probably was my favorite. Just beautiful. Once you get back there, and it's only about a mile. It's like a mile in and a mile out. Once you get back there, you start looking at the scenery and the water. And I mean, honestly, you think you're like on a tropical island, like in Missouri, for God's sakes. And just so pretty. And the one thing I will say, and this is just a warning, and this is not to discourage anyone, but some of the roads to get to some of these are a little bumpy. And once you kind of pull off the paved main highway, some of these roads you'll have to drive on for, probably a couple of miles. They could be a little rocky and a little dusty and a little rough, but it was totally worth it. It was an amazing trip.
So not a place to take your sports car then?
Well, you know what? I kind of looked because I was curious because I have a small SUV. Obviously I've driven it all over the country and in a lot of different situations. So I did kind of like look up to see like what are other people driving back here. And I saw people were like, yeah, no, I got a Toyota Corolla, no problem. Like, whatever. So I think as long as it hasn't rained or those roads become kind of muddy, I think you're going to be okay.
Talk about the power of the water in some of these locations. Some of them look still and some of them had waterfalls as well, right?
Yeah. So I actually went to St. James St. James Spring, which was one of my lists I wanted to see. That was the only one of the bunch that was not blue, and that's in St. James, Missouri. And because of all the recent the recent rains. And so that one was moving like you wouldn't believe. And of course, I did not know any different. So I'm out there, I'm taking some photos and some video and just in complete awe. And I met a nice lady who walked by and she was like, "Oh, it's not normally like this." And I said, "What do you mean?" She goes, "Yeah, normally I kind of like, we can even like walk across this." And I was like, "Walk across?" And she's like, "Yeah, normally it's very calm and it's easy going and it's just, pretty blue." And it was not like that at all last week when I was down there. Maybe it's gotten back to normal, but so, when we get a lot of rain, some of these aren't quite as, calm and blue. But a lot of them are, and they're just really pretty and it's really just nice and relaxing. And I'll tell you another thing, if you go during the week, during a weekday, especially if you get up early and go in the morning, there's a pretty good chance you're going to have these to yourself. I think only on 2 different trails that I run into people, and it was just nice to just chill out, peace and quiet, be out in nature, and take some photographs and have a good time seeing these things.
Now, if someone doesn't want to make it like a day trip, are there places where you could stay nearby, or is it fairly remote where you're going?
Yeah, so that's the other thing. So these they're close by, but they're not within 10 minutes of each other. Okay, so I spent probably the 2 days that I was down there, I probably drove about 3 to 4 hours every day. But that's me. Like, I'm a little neurotic. So, but you can map them out, and I've got a Google map on my website so folks can kind of look and see for themselves what they'd like to do. I wouldn't do it as a day trip, to be honest with you, because the first spring in was Welch Spring, and that was 2.5 hours in. So, man, I would take the time, do a couple of days. I mentioned the little the place where I stayed in Mountain View, which was kind of central. That link is on my website if folks want to check that out. But you are going to do some driving in between these. But, the good news is that you have something to look forward to at the even if you're driving 45 minutes from one to the next, you have something cool to look forward to.
You can check him out on Facebook and at BillOnTheRoad.com. Travel journalist Bill Cleveland, thank you so much for joining me this morning.
All right. Thanks, Megan. See ya.
Tomorrow on Total Information AM, we're going to look at nursing home closures in Missouri and the risk of more. So make sure you join us. It's 8:56.
Hi, I'm Andrew Suntrup. Buying your brand new Buick or GMC has never been easier. Here at Suntrup Buick GMC, our family-owned and operated dealership has been proudly servicing St. Charles County for over 30 years by always providing aggressive pricing, a massive inventory selection, and exceptional customer service. Buying from Suntrup means you get the best vehicle at the best price. Visit Suntrup Buick GMC today or visit us online at suntrupbuickgmc.com and save more at Suntrup Buick GMC.
Cardinal Cowboy here. After proving the doctors wrong following my accident, I got back to baseball, started kicking field goals, and finally got paid as a pro kicker and ultimately became a leader in the marketing world. That's why I trust Renner Garage Door, exceeding expectations for over 65 years. They service, sell, and install top brands like Delden, Amar, and LiftMaster. Get your free quote today. Check them out at RennerDoorSTL.com. Renner, forward and back. Giddy up!
RENNER. RENNER.
Hey guys, Glover here for my friends Mark and Neil Gelman of eXp Realty. If you need to sell your home to buy a new one, it's never been more important to have an experienced negotiator that you can trust. You need my friends Mark and Neil Gelman on your side. 314-336-1991. Go to thegelmanteam.com.
I love a day on the water with friends, but my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis sometimes holds me back. Now I'm all in with clearer skin thanks to Skyrizi.